power inherent in the people. PIITP.com. So again, my name is Cameron Wilson. I'm really happy that y'all are here. I came to Brandon. Well, it's pretty wild because I have been watching Brandon, and I had already been studying this stuff for quite a long time. There's no doubt about it. But I never pulled the trigger on anything because nobody had put any pieces together fully without giving everything. You know how they just sprinkle the information a little bit here and there, and you don't fully get it, and you're like, what the hell's going on? So I've been probably studying this, though, I've been studying just autodidactic researching, I want to say 15, 16 years, but I come from the history side of things, right? So I'm real big in the aspect of figuring out what America was. What's up? Oh, you want me deeper? Oh, okay. I got you. All right, so let's get a little bit deeper. Okay. So anyways, so I come from the history side of things. My thing was trying to figure out what's going on with aspects of just the lies, the travesties of America in and of itself. And as I got into that, I got deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into finding aspects of America that nobody speaks about, that they intentionally hide on purpose. And I really want you to know from the bottom of my heart, if y'all ever want to learn about this, you can. America's got really, really, really deep ties to the Bible. I'm just going to say it like that. We're standing on the Holy Land. And you may not understand that yet, but I can teach you and I can show you, and I've proven it to thousands of people. You should really feel blessed to understand that you're on this land of America. That's number one. And if you do, maybe just give yourself a clap for being here, because it's amazing to be here. First of all, yeah, like it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Okay. So I'm doing all my research stuff in the history, and I get to a standstill spot where I've really gotten to the deepest, or one of the deeper aspects of just the name of America itself, like one of the oldest names that nobody talks about. Once I got to that point, I kind of backed away because I'm waiting for others to kind of catch up, I guess, if that makes sense, like other independent researchers. And but within this, doing the history aspect, I found myself, right? I found out what I was, what our ancestors knew about what we were, and I implemented that knowing within myself. One of the biggest things as far as power inherent in the people, Operation Wise Dome, is the fact we have a slogan, is I am you, we are us, and we are all a part of the great I am, right? So that's what was really cool when I heard William earlier do his introduction. It was all based, it was based on that I know who I am, right? I understand that, or understand that and overstand that. And as you get to enter over, because we're never understanding, because we stand under nothing, right? The only thing we stand under is our great creator, if you understand that, if anything. So what happens is I start figuring out who I am, how I am a creation of the creator. Just briefly, back in 2011, I'm going to walk a little bit. Back in 2011, I was still in Texas. I'm from Texas, Dallas specifically. And what ended up happening, excuse me, brother. What ended up happening is I got into a car wreck with an 18-wheeler, okay? It was purple lightning, thunderstorms. I'm in a slow lane. We hydroplane over, and then we get in front of an 18-wheeler, and he pushes us. And we just spin out, right? I get in the fast lane, HOV lane. And we okay, I'm all right. I get out the car, man, and my dumb ass, I go see my bumper, maybe about 70 yards behind our car. And I'm thinking about somebody else. I better go get that bumper before it causes another wreck. I get to walking back to my car with that bumper, man. I hear, I turn around, boom! I get hit by a truck doing 75 miles an hour on the highway. So I lost my leg, y'all. I die. Flatline, they brought my ass back. I think I'm supposed to be here. And y'all supposed to be here too. And I am so thankful that y'all are here. So God's really put a mission in my life. I've gone through a lot of tragedy, for real. There's been a lot of things that has brought me to the place where I'm at now. And I can't say that I'm necessarily proud of each and every one of those things, right? But the fact is I'm here now. And where I'm at, I think, and where y'all are at is growing into knowing who you are so that you can bring that onto the rest of the world for all the generations to come, right? That's what we're supposed to be. We only have a limited amount of time here. Whether we've been here before and we can remember or not, we have this time right now and we have to make the best of it for all that we have. And I'm really happy that all of y'all are here. So what ends up happening is I'm just getting into my history and I'm watching Brandon and I'm looking at other people, and I think around 2 years ago, I probably found some stuff I was doing some research into as far as like this $14 quadrillion agricultural lien, which I'll show y'all about. We'll go into a little bit, maybe tomorrow, not so much today. And as I got deeper and deeper into the research, I just figured out there's more to it. I kind of started off with the right to travel. So I've been doing right to travel since 2016 now, completely. No driver's license, no insurance, no registration, no nada. Why? Because I'm the top. Can't nobody tell me what to do. If I'm a creation of the Creator, how am I going to bound myself to tell somebody that, you know, like I need permission? Do you need permission? Do you need permission? What about you? Do any of you here need permission? No. Why? Why is that? Because you're the highest of authority. You are a creation of the Creator. We bow down to nothing. What did the first penny say? Can anybody in here tell me what the first penny said? What? Say that loud. Mind your damn business. All right, maybe take out the damn, but that's what the first penny said. Mind your business. There are so many people that died on this land for us to be free. Yet we have so many people out here succumbing to authority. When you're the authority, why are we out here disrespecting our ancestors, or not even our, I mean, they are. We're all related. We like to say this, play this race game, but it's the human race, right? So if that's the case, why are we not standing on all authority when we had thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people die for us, right? So that's where I come from on that aspect. So yeah, I've been doing the right to travel now for a while. Okay, it's been very empowering to kind of get into these aspects of empowering myself, because I've never been arrested for the right to travel. It's 9 years now, y'all. I've been towed once. One time I've been towed. And within an hour and a half, I got my car out. Still no registration, still no insurance, still no driver's license. So it's really about knowing what and who you are, because when you figure that out, you stand on it and you start acting as it, and people start honestly respecting you. They really do. I've got several different cases right now. Who really knows about me? I just want to see a show of hands real quick. Who really knows about me? Some? Okay, not all. Okay. Right now, I guess they're not in default anymore. They were in default. But I got several different court cases right now. And what we do in our group, when did we start? November? Yeah, late December. Late December. Well, I went on Brandon's channel, I think maybe September or August. He said, dude, you need to start uploading your stuff. I had been saving it forever, never uploaded it nowhere. I just help people in the background. Once I started uploading everywhere, people saw that I'm for real, and I think there's a difference. We've had these aspects of sovereign citizens fighting the police for the longest, right? Everybody wants to fight the police. Oh, we're going to fight the police. Oh, fuck these police. Oh, do this. You know, it's us against them. When can we get it to where it's us with us again? You see what I'm saying? Like, when can we get it to where we have these police finally saying, we're going to respect your rights. We're going to respect your secured, your sacred, endowed, creator liberties, right? Because it supersedes everything, everything. So, yeah, we end up creating this group. It's called Operation Wise Dome. And then Power Inheriting the People. We got over 300 people. We have over 100 cases right now, both criminal and civil, that we're working on. Custody cases, civil cases. We got people bringing forth $5.1 million, all doing it themselves. No lawyer. We are the attorneys. We are the highest of authority. And that's what we teach. And we develop. We use technology like nobody else has been. Like, I think we are the first. I don't know. I would say that we're probably the first to do it like this. I haven't seen anybody else do it like this. And the reason I even got involved was because as I'm searching to find someone to give me the information that I'm looking for, or at least help me, whether it be into the trust game or the law or just any aspect, I couldn't find it. And if I did, they charging $1,000 to give me a little bit, and then all right, well, give me a little more, a little more. So what we've done is we've been able to come together collectively as a group, which is Operation Wise Dome. Wise Dome is based off of wisdom, which is the most important because everything is based off of knowledge. The problems that we have in our country is the fact that these people don't have the knowledge. They just don't have it. So if we get the knowledge back out in the streets, what we're going to do is we're going to have a unification of our people again, both on the cop and law enforcement side, and then, all together collectively as a group. And that's my mission. My mission is traffic law reform. If y'all don't know this, on my website, you can go on my website again, PIITP.com. You'll see that we have a petition. I think we have over 1,300 signatures now. to where we are actually finna bring forth a petition to change traffic law. Because over the past 3 years, just 3 years now, we've had 36 deaths from law enforcement based on traffic stops alone. That's ridiculous. I don't know what y'all talking about. Don't nobody deserve to die off of a sticker. That's crazy to me. And we got to stop that, okay? Because if it's 3,600 people that die, how many more people are affected by those 3,600 people? That's 3,600 mothers. That's 3,600 fathers, children, cousins, grandma, grandpas. That easily turns into over 150,000 people that are affected by these traffic laws. And we got to change them. I mean, we're already getting to autonomous. I ain't seen no autonomous cars till I got here in Austin. I was like, damn, that thing ain't got nobody in that thing. They driving all over. So we already know that we're going to have traffic law reform here soon. Why not do it now? And let us be at the forefront of that, right? What else we got going on? So we got Operation Wise Dome. Again, Wise Dome is based off of wisdom. We do lots of civil litigation, lots of criminal litigation. We got 2 meetings every week. I mean, we stay busy. People be asking me, bro, I don't know how I do it, but we're doing it. And it's very empowering. And I can't wait to share a lot of the things that we've been able to do thus far. And yeah, that's my intro. So.
So, sample question 1. How would each of you define sovereign citizenship in its historical context? Let's go with you, Joey.
I don't necessarily know if there's a good definition for sovereign citizen because I look at it, and this is what I argue in the courts. By the way, Brandon and I have been called sovereign citizens a lot. What the fuck is a sovereign citizen? It sounds like defamatory language and it's disparaging. So honestly, I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what a sovereign citizen is.
Brandon?
Oh, I know exactly what a sovereign citizen is. Yahoo! Woo! Fuck those windows. With that said, I mean, you know, it's basically, if I had to answer the question, which I did do in my SBA brief, which only a few fucking people read, apparently. I want to go to Justice Taney from Dred Scott versus Sanford. That's where it is. Let me just pull it up very rapidly, and I'll give it to you, because you fuckers don't read my appeals brief that I wrote. It's the first time I've ever written anything entirely on my own without sucking on Joey's tits, and you guys don't even fucking read it. Justice Taney, Dred Scott versus Sanford, 1857. The words, quote, people of the United States, end quote, and, quote, citizens, end quote, are synonymous terms and mean the same thing. They both describe the political body who, according to our Republican institutions, form the sovereignty and who hold the power and conduct the government through their representatives. They are what we familiarly call, quote, the sovereign people, end quote. And every citizen is one of this people and a constituent member of this sovereignty. That's my answer.
Reading off your phone is kind of a cop-out, but we'll take it.
Well, I did the sovereign citizen thing. I mean, that's pretty good, too.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to be sovereign, right? We all want to be free. We want to be the kings of our domain. So,
Yeah.
So, next question, though. Thank you for that. What are the most common misconceptions about historical sovereign citizenship? And whether you want to use the oxymoron definition or you want to just be a free living being, what do you think that... I forgot my question already. What do you think are the most common misconceptions about it? I mean, we all interact with it every day, right?
I wanted to give another definition if nobody knows about sovereign citizen. In 1940, there was a joint resolution. Okay, it was signed. It was in relation to I Am an American Citizen Day. The president signed it, okay? And in that resolution, joint resolution for I Am an American Citizen Day, okay, that people take an oath to still to this day, it states that every year there's about, I think it was 2 million? Yes. This is 2 million? Yeah. 2 million. And this is in a joint resolution now, okay? 2 million young men and women each year become the age of 21, right? Age of majority, I guess, is how they really thought of it. And that, oh man, I almost want to read this verbatim. Let me see if I can read this verbatim real quick. How do I do it? No,
We're allowing cop-outs. So.
Well, I'm just saying. Every year, 21 million people become men and women, and they reach the highest, what is it? I almost want to read this verbatim. What is it? The highest? They reach the highest status within our self-governing republic as a sovereign citizen. Literally, verbatim, it says, sovereign citizens, when they reach the age of 21 in America, become the highest of authority and should appreciate their significance and status within our self-governing republic. I know I didn't answer this earlier, but that's why I wrote my book called Self-Governing, bruh. This was released about 2 months ago. Self-governing, bruh, okay? And the reason is because sovereign citizens is not what we thought. We look at it in definitions now, but we're not understanding that sovereign is free and a citizen is an American. You got it ready for me, Troy? Troy? Okay, I'm gonna have Troy read something for y'all real quick. This is empowering. Watch, I'm gonna show y'all. Come over here, Troy.
And Troy is another foundational member. He's been with us from the start, and
Yeah, Operation
he made the trip from Idaho. So that's a pretty long one. Let's go,
I'm an
Troy.
American. I like America. I want to see it. I am an American is a challenge to the highest ideals of aspiration, mankind. God damn, is the highest ideals of aspirations of mankind to self-sacrifice and devotion, to loyalty and patriotism, to joyful work and courageous achievement, to magnanimity and charity to all, and malice to none, as we seek to uphold and perpetuate the principles of our republic. And that's what it is. I live an American. I shall die an American, and I intend to perform the duties incumbent of an American until the day I die. And that's what American is.
That's beautiful.
And this comes from the 1928 military manual, TM 2000, on citizenship. And it's a test of your citizenship that you had to pass back there in order to reach the age of majority.
Well said.
Before they buried it in 1952 and changed it to the Constitution Day in September, and they turned it into more of an immigration thing than a celebration.
Couldn't let us have too much fun.
Right. Yeah, right.
Thank you, sir.
Truman.
I think this is a perfect point to talk about. We collectively are going to have a lot of differences amongst us. There's no doubt about that. Some people are not going to like me because I have a beard. I have nephews that are as left as I am far right. Brandon and I have a particular relationship where, and I say this, and I haven't openly on his platform, but I love the 14th Amendment as much as he hates the 14th Amendment. I know that's going to ire some. What the fuck did he just say? Throw him out of here. I think the reason why is because it gives me two pieces that I need in court. Access to the courts and equal protection of the law. The fifth also has that in there. But Brandon will get amped up and start texting me because he wants to convert me as much as I want to convert him the other way, and we shouldn't do that. It'll usually lead with a phone call. I'm going to back off. I can tell you're getting upset. No, I don't give a fuck. You're not going to change a 54-year-old guy any more than I'm going to change a 39-year-old Fruit Loop from L.A. You know, I come to... But the point is we're all here collectively into a litigation world that we either say we want to go into or we are actively in that right now. When we bring those differences there, they feed on that. So I'm an American just as much as he's an American, as much as all of you guys are. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people that are very, very passionate about their stance. 14th Amendment hates it. I'm okay with it. Here's why I'm okay with any of that stuff. People are going to quote a lot of shit, and it's going to get you confused, and a confused mind says no, and we all know that. So the reason why I say I don't give a fuck about reading Slaughterhouse and all of this shit. So last night we had to have cigars until 12:30. We had to hash this out, right? because this is what we have to do collectively with each other, which is, you know, what are your differences and what are my differences and why are we at that particular point and how can we help each other out with this particular movement? So I think that's important that we recognize that. And when people start quoting you stuff, that's something that they've bought into, a theory typically that hasn't been proven, and they're willing to die on that hill. Does anybody know Dave Champion? Yeah, so I've had I guess, the experience and pleasure of being able to talk to Dave at a different level. Great guy. There's nobody, in my opinion, that's better in the tax stuff than a Dave Champion. I mean, honestly, I've talked to him at endless hours as well. He had 2 suits. I'm not going to get into that, but where he's got a permanent injunction to this day. And he's not supposed to talk about this stuff. Well, there's the highest authority that he is in taxation. He's being silenced. So then, of course, I'm involved. So I said, oh, fuck that. You know, so we've talked about that. We all have our particular lanes and where we can help each other out. We just have to look past. That's it, you know. And we talked about gratitude earlier. If you wake up with a shitty attitude, you're going to have a shitty attitude when you go to bed. If you wake up from gratitude, you're going to most likely have that. There's going to be a lot of stuff come at you this weekend. There's going to be a lot of opinions. There's going to be a lot of people quoting shit. There's going to be a lot of stuff, and I don't want you leaving here confused, man. I'm telling you, everybody that's here is trying to move the needle, and they're very passionate about what they are. We're going to have differences. I haven't seen anybody come to blows yet. But there's a good fuck you every now and then, you know? There's a good fuck you, and that's okay.
You and me, man, this fuck right here.
Yeah, so anyway, sorry for that interruption, but I think it's important to note that, because when I see somebody grab the mic and say, this says this, that's okay. It's okay to quote that, but here's where I've found that it's very important. In the courts, what I am so passionate about. Last night, what we came to, by the way, in our cigar smoking session is I'm tactical and he's a purist. And when you look at those two things, he will define you to fucking death. I'm wanting to get in and kill you from a tactical procedural standpoint because I know you're lying to me, attorneys. So he's wanting to pound definitions down their throat to show them that he truly knows the material, which is great. I've got my face painted and I got a fucking sword and I want to kill you because I know you're procedurally lying to me, whatever that is. So anyway, we have a lot of experience in this room, and I think a lot of people are really wanting to go down the path, but just don't get confused on the methods and all of those things that I think people are going to quote, especially when it comes to case law and decisions. And here's what I tell the attorneys, especially at the appellate level. Case law was made to be changed. So when you're going to die on that hill and say, well, the case law said, fuck you. I'm the guy that's here to change that case law.
With us, how many months now, you think, in Operation Wisdom?
About 2 months.
About 2 months. How do you like it?
Oh man, I can't thank you enough that I linked up with this group. I just can't thank you enough.
Okay, why don't you just give a couple words about the group, what you've been doing, how you've grown, maybe just a little bit of your experience just real quick.
Sure. Yeah. So I've actually been trying to exercise my rights. I have been exercising my rights. I've been getting, stopped by, traffic infractions. And so, I've gone in there. All right. Is that okay? Sorry. So I've gone into court a couple times. I've helped my daughter, my son, my wife. So a few of, actually, I guess maybe 2 of my kids haven't had a chance to go into court yet. I'm sure that'll happen soon. But anyway, so contesting subject matter jurisdiction, always getting railroaded. So the content that came in the Operation Wise Dome group that has put together more of the procedural methods now, and holding the courts to their the standards, to really not give them any wiggle room on how to kind of get out from under their procedures. And so this has really been eye-opening, because for me personally, it's like I don't give a crap about your procedures. I'm exercising my rights to travel, to all of my rights. And so now, because I keep getting dragged into courts, it's now like, okay, now you guys are forcing me to learn these procedures, and now I'm going to make you pay for that. And so that's where I'm at. So, well, you file counterclaims once you get the case dismissed, and then you go through that whole process. So, anyway, long story short, Operation Wise Dome, Cam, the work that you're doing, the organization you put together has really been eye-opening and very has been a wealth of knowledge for me. So, I'm very thankful for that.
Now, we're very thankful for Joe because he came in and started gripping, learning, and then implementing and helping other people. I mean, he didn't even need help, so I just wanted to say I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, I really appreciate you. Yeah, he's been amazing, very amazing. Go on here, bro.
So I just wanted to summarize all this. This was my thought of all of it, is that if you're going to stand on your rights, it needs to be your conviction. You can't just read some crap on a YouTube video or read anything that these guys are saying or anybody else. You need to, in your heart, internalize, believe it. Because if you go up on the stand and you try and say something that you don't truly believe, you're just, I'm standing on my right. They're not going to listen to you. So it's a test. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Like Brandon says, it's a war, and you got to go in there with all your ammo, and you got to know your enemy. Yeah. So anyway. The question that I started, and we're circling back to, is common misconceptions of this movement that we're a part of. What are they?
Were there common misconceptions? I would say the common misconceptions are most definitely the aspect that they think we're out here trying to hurt people. You know what I'm saying? Financial scammers. Anybody can look up. That was really the whole point of why I titled this event, "The Sovereignist Citizen of the Land," right? The reason for that is because they've been attacking that with this movement for so long, trying to make people scared of being free. That's what trips me out. Like, how you going to sit here and try and make people scared to be free? Like, I got to stand up on my rights. I get arrested for just saying, hey, don't violate me. Like, how do they even do that? Like, where do they do that at? What do you got to say about it?
The biggest one that I see most pro se litigants, at least, the misconception is that you need an attorney or you can't exert your own rights. That's the biggest load of horseshit that's sold. You can do 100% everything. If I can learn it, you can learn it. There's no doubt about that. So you don't need an attorney to be successful in litigating.
For me, it's just you're going to get your fucking ass beaten to death. It's going to happen. It will happen. I am living proof. He's 45-0. I'm riddled with fucking bullet holes, okay? So that's just the way it is. He won in his space, and he has case law, and he was able to get through it victorious and unscathed. I've gone through a lot of fucking, like, Jesus, what the fuck am I going to do with this? Like, I can't even get, I just say hi. I'm like, hi guys, how you doing? And it's like, there's bullets, and then my whole head explodes immediately. So, trying to navigate that and that kind of thing. I've seen a lot of cases that have been shown, and even some judges have fucking listed certain cases against me to try to throw my case out. And you don't see anything else by these people. I think it was like Sneed versus Chase was the last one the judge used to throw my case out. Mr. Williams' claims of action and claims appears to be very similar to Sovereign Citizen, just like this case, Sneed versus Chase. And Sneed versus Chase doesn't look anything like anything I've ever said in any case. So it's just like, oh, he looks like a fucking deer, shoot him, you know what I mean? That's basically what you're going to experience. And there's a lot of people who, they do it one time, they feel bad, everyone becomes a child blood-drinking, Masonic fucking, Baphomet, and then that's the justification to walk away and never go back, and then they just have a a sour taste in their mouth, and they just, of course, and it's all fucking Baphomets, and And I just think that's sad because you're not gonna. Besides Joey, if you want to win all the time and do credit stuff, then that's easy. But most things are not gonna go like that, I don't think. And I think Joey is just in a really exceptional, very unique situation, and I've never ever seen any other example where someone just fucking kicks ass right away. In fact, it's the same way in every area of life. You're not going to see a UFC fighter get in the ring and win every single thing and do every single thing. And the bar carts, I've had 5 or 6 or 7 on my platform. The first thing they tell me is, Brandon, the first thing I had to figure out when I came out of law school was how to file a lawsuit. Every single one told me that. So it's like, they don't want you, everyone's got their ego, and no one wants to show or tell you all the shit they had to go through, and they think they just have a fucking 10-inch horse dick overnight, and that's the problem. It's they didn't, and they pretend that they do because they want to seem cool, like 007 James Bond, and it's just like bullshit, and it doesn't connect to people, and it just fucks everything up, because now they're like, oh, well, shit, I can be fucking 007 James Bond just like him. And they go in, and then they've got 8 horse cocks in their mouth, and they're getting decapitated. And there's someone shitting down their throat while they bleed to death, and they're like, this is not what I was told. So, I just think that you guys should really be ready for that. And for me, I think the biggest thing is just learn to enjoy the process. Learn to enjoy the process of raising kids. It's probably a pain in the ass. I haven't done it. If I've got kids out there, I don't know about them, I'll probably keep it that way, okay? But everything in life is like that. There's nothing. Driving a car was fucking terrifying. The first time you did it, you were fucking terrified. I was fucking terrified. First time I rode a motorcycle, I was fucking terrified. You were fucking terrified. First time you went to a job interview, you were fucking terrified. I was fucking terrified. Going into court is a little more extreme, definitely, than a lot of things you're going to experience in life. But I think ultimately, it's the same shit. And I wish people would have more endurance and more enjoyment. And I think things like Operation Wise Dome is a great thing, because the people who have come before us, Dave Champion and Miss Sneed and Sneed versus Chase and all these different cases, I don't think these people had any clubs or groups or nothing. In fact, their family probably wanted to fucking push them out the door, you know what I mean? So I think that's super cool, and I think that that's really the only misconception, really. I mean, if you want to boil all the misconceptions down to just like one basic misconception, is that magic letters. That's how Joey calls them. Oh, let's send out some magic letters. Yeah, well, I've been there. I did that for a fucking year and a half. Doesn't fucking work. I thought I was going to be, yeah, so you got to start somewhere, right? Anyways.
So for my brother back there with the God over everything shirt, this is going to resonate with you, but what is the one thing we're told in that book, big book, more than anything, not to do? There it is. That's the first thing you're going to see in the court systems if they pump fear. It's strategically in that book, 365 times fear is mentioned to not do. Do not fear anything. And when you go into that, that's one for every day, by the way. Yeah, I see it all of the time, is they start threatening sanctions. And with my buddy, if you watch the video on that one, Branyan, the guy that was the 2-time war vet, I made the court fall in love with him, and that's how he won so fast. But there's this asshole named Alex Prunka, who's a Jones Day attorney. I don't care if you email him and tell him I said that. He was a guy, he's a fat, fucking pride flag wearing guy. There's the Joey coming out in me from the Midwest. That I can tell he was bullied in school, and you'll find that with most of them. But the thing that he did to my friend who's a war vet is, you're going to have to pay my sanctions and my fees of $19,000. They knew I was behind it, and it was me. They didn't want him. So the first thing they do, and here's a war vet calling me scared. What? I think we're going to have to get out of this, bro. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to find this when you go into a case. There's going to be ups and downs, and they're going to threaten you with all kinds of horse shit that they can't pull off. But if you buy it, they're going to be able to do it. So anyway, I said, you know what, bro? And here's the male ego again. I knew who I was speaking with. You fought a good fight, bro. It's okay. I'll file a motion for dismissal tomorrow morning. That's all I needed to do. Fuck that, we're gonna go, and we did, and we were successful, and that shithead didn't get paid his $19,000, he paid us $1,500. So that's what you're gonna find when you go into this litigation world that we're all proposing, is it's going to be threats, it's going to be fear, and go back to what I talked about, the source. Cam's brought it up a couple times, and my boy's wearing the shirt. That's where it's at. 365 times you're told not to do it, and then you buy into the shit when they give it to you. So there you go.
I like it. That's beautifully said, man. Yeah, fears. Fear, what they call fear? Fear is the little death inside. I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard that before, but it is the mind killer. You got to eliminate it because that's all they got, really. Truly, that's all they got. So.
Thank y'all. That's great. Acronym. Let's hear it.
There's two. Fear is fuck everything and run, fuck everything and rise, or fornication under the consent of the king.
I like it. Okay, well, we've asked these guys a few questions. Let's ask you guys some questions. What do you think so far? It's great to have everybody here, you guys and everybody up here, and everybody who's made this possible. Happy y'all made it back. All right, Joey. Jurisdiction. Very big topic, very big piece of cake that no matter what you're doing in this entire realm, no matter the sector you're in, it is, when it goes to court, it's very important. So jurisdiction, how do you see your interaction with the government, the courts, etc., with jurisdiction? What gives them jurisdiction? What keeps you out of their jurisdiction? Where do you like to stand?
Yeah, jurisdiction is literally probably the most, I think, paramount, important aspect that you can right up there with the parties. So, especially if you're in federal court, there's only two pieces that you're there for when it talks about a jurisdictional standpoint. It's 28 U.S.C. 1331, which is a federal question, or there's a diversity claim. That's it. People talk shit about anything else. Those are the only two statutory pieces that you're going to have from a jurisdictional standpoint that's going to give the federal courts the power to make a decision on your behalf. The parties are right there too. I mean, people read too much into a lot of horse shit, and it's literally Joey Kimbrough's 1712 Candy Court South, Kokomo, Indiana. That's it. There's that party. And then you have American Express, that's a company that operates in Indiana. There's that party. So I think a lot of people see a lot of claims and hear a lot of things and make it really way more complicated than they need to. So jurisdiction and parties, I think, are really, you got to give the court the jurisdiction to hear your causes of action. If, for me, the credit space, it's always a federal question, so I'm 1331. And then I'm 15 U.S.C. 1681. So there's the statutory component that gives them the jurisdiction, the law, the act that gives them the authority to be able to give me remedy. And that's what we're all looking for.
So talk a little bit about, if you would, say the ens legis versus your living man and how to navigate that in the court.
I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that. I think Brandon would do really well there. I've not seen any, the ens legis versus the natural man argument in the courts. I've not seen any difference. Yeah, I've not.
So
there's
let me
the
ask,
all caps, there's the hyphenated name, there's the lowercase, uppercase, there's all
in the mix of it all.
I ignore all that, and please just get me into the court. Let me give them jurisdiction. Let me get the parties there. My shit not being hyphenated or all caps has never affected me one time. And I'm saying that there may be people out there that have valid stuff along those. I think there's just a lot of misinformation. Is not that was Kamala Harris. I think there's just a lot of stuff that's out there that's really throwing people off the path, man. Just let me be in the game, let me play, and I don't care how I'm there, just don't throw me out. And I'm not going to get thrown out because my name is not listed all caps. Now, I know Brandon wants his, rightfully so, trademarked name in there and all of that other good stuff. So there's reasoning behind that, I guess is what I'm getting at in a long-winded way. He has a reason that he wants to bring that in. He has patented stuff, trademarks. I'm not arguing any of that stuff. I'm not going to either. So
what I think I hear you say is, don't be scared whether it's written this way or that way. In your world where you're doing the suing, you don't care. You just want to start the game and get going.
I've never seen it matter one time, and I've never seen anybody say because your name is not in all caps and you're in commercial. We understand all of that, just like we understand that the judges and the lawyers are doing all of their nonsense and it's a corrupt environment. We already know all of that, so we don't have to go down and let them know that we know all of that. So I don't spend any time on all caps, insleges, any of that stuff, because I've never seen where it's mattered. But I'm saying that with the disclaimer that maybe somebody out there way smarter than me has had that. But at least for what I talk about, I've never seen it matter, not one time. So.
I feel the same way for anybody that's asking. I can talk about this.
Yeah, okay.
I knew he would be up.
No long tangents.
Buckle up, motherfuckers! Okay, so it took me 2.5, 3 years to even figure out what the goddamn thing is. So I've just never seen anyone, it's a sole proprietorship or an estate. There's only two things that a social security number can be connected to. That's as per box 9A of the SS4. It's either an estate, and then it says SSN of decedent, or a sole proprietorship. And it says SSN next to. Well, it doesn't say sole proprietorship, it says sole proprietor, which is the same thing. So the answer to the question is a social security number can only be pointing toward two things, period, end of story. It's either an estate or it's a sole proprietor, which is a sole proprietorship. There's no other things that a social security number can be pointing to. The problem is that in the courts, they say that the sole proprietorship and the owner of the sole proprietorship are considered the same person. That's the issue. And no one's ever challenged this. No one's ever figured this out. No one knows this. I've never seen any of this brought in any case. So I bring it because to me it's the truth. But obviously I just get dicks jammed in every hole of my body every time I do it. So it just depends if that's what you want to do. Obviously I'm in California, so I could do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in California, I want dicks in every hole, and it's like, bang, you get it right away. You know what I mean? But if you guys want to actually have a chance of winning without having to exert yourself tremendously to an endless amount, I think Joey's right. So, and Joey and I spoke about this last night when we were having those cigars. I would rather push the truth in hell for 6 years because that's just what I want to do. Joey would rather actually win cases and not fucking kill himself. So it's just the difference between me and Joey. I named him Tactical, and then I named me Purist, or whatever the fuck it was. That's pretty much it right there. So it just depends. It just depends on what you want to do. And the reason why I'm having such a hard time bringing these claims is because they've never been brought, and when they were brought by crazy fucks that didn't know what they were talking about, and they've just made this path to try to get this information pushed in the courts extremely fucking difficult. There's an entire fucking graveyard of people like me stretching as far as you can possibly see of just death, decay, and dead bodies of people trying to bring these kinds of claims. So I'm going to keep doing it. I don't give a fuck if I die at 80 years old and I'm still trying to bring the claim. I'm still going to be doing it. So for me, it's almost getting to the point now where it's like if I just keep bringing the claim, it's almost like people are like, hey, this underdog over here, he's pretty cool. Like, I kind of want to be like that. And I'm over here like, yeah, I'm just getting fucked up, just getting beaten to death and blah, blah, blah. And other people are coming along and they're like, oh man, this is super cool, super fun. I want to push some of these claims too. And then now we got 10,000 people pushing the claim and they don't give a fuck about anything. They just want to push the truth and just, that's all they want to do. Like me, that's kind of how I think. At some point, they're going to have to address it. So originally I thought I was going to get some traction. Now, not so sure. But I'm just going to keep doing it, and I just invite people to join me, and eventually they're going to have to fucking pick it up at some point somewhere. And I think, you look at all the cases where people have brought this, they bring it in a way it's all fucked up, then they get told no or sovereign citizen, and they fucking totally flip out and start filing like 400-page docket items, and it's 67 docket items at 40 to 90 pages per docket item. And then now you come along and you're anything like all these fucks, and all these judges have been there forever, and every single time they've seen anybody say anything close to what Brandon Joe Williams is saying, they've been the craziest, wildest, most fucked up individuals they've ever seen in their courts. Well, you wind up with a guy with a win-to-loss record like me. So that's all. I think it just depends on what you want to do. If you've got money and you just want to like swing your dick around endlessly and you're just going to have a blast doing it, even though you're going to have every bone in your body smashed with a baseball bat, I think my way is to go. If you actually want to fucking win something and you actually want to get somewhere, probably more Joey, frankly. Just to be totally frank with you. That's it right there. So.
He always brings the energy. I think that's 90% of it. Cam's given me an hour, which for me, that's not a lot of time. So I really want to take you guys through Snap-on at some particular point. And there's been so many people come up here and talk to me, and I appreciate that more than you really know, because I told you, you're the people I ask for. So there've been some really cool stuff and questions and stuff that you guys have asked, and I hope I've answered them in a way that's got you thinking, and we have 3 days to be able to pepper each other with that kind of stuff. So just an amazing amount of diversity in the room with cases that people are coming up and talking about family law and which, was one earlier, and just trust law and litigation in general, man. With my sweet spot, I go crazy about that. But I don't think right now is the time to talk the Snap-on stuff, because it's going to take me on an extreme high, and I could talk about that because I know it like the back of my hand. I'll never disparage Snap-on. They're a great company. I signed an NDA that says I wouldn't do that. So I believe in that. They just made a mistake, and I made them pay for that mistake. So one of the questions that was asked earlier is a hot topic right now because of some of the content that Brandon was pushing out around car notes. So that's near and dear to my heart too. It's one I haven't taken on yet because I look at it through the eyes of the dealer. Remember, I owned 4 auto dealerships once upon a time in Indiana, so I look at things a little bit different. Whereas I was talking to the young man, I'm not so caught up in that they are going to repo your shit, most likely. And I'm saying that from the dealer's perspective. I'm not trying to scare anybody. Remember that fear word we talked about in the big book that tells you not to do it. If you went down the path and you did everything right and you have the without recourse and all of that stuff, good. But where I would focus, again, as the dealer, and I'm going to give you the dirty laundry on what happened to you behind the scenes, and I'm going to admit this, and I'm not saying I did anything wrong, but I was barking at my sales guy that I want 55 fucking cars sold this month, and then he was taking that message down to the finance guy, and the finance guy and the sales guy were giving me exactly what I wanted. And when I exited it, I was selling 55 cars a month. But here's what I was doing to you. The box up at the top of this is where you should all be focusing, and that's the Truth in Lending Act in action, otherwise known as TILA. It's 15 U.S.C. 1605 if you want the statutory reference and you want to start looking at this. Because when you're up there, there are 3 disclosures that Joey Dealer was supposed to have put prominently throughout the deal, and I promise you I didn't do that. And here I am sharing that with you. And I was telling people to not necessarily not share that with you, but you were not seeing the 3 disclosures that state law said you were supposed to see and federal law that I just referenced. So look in your state and find out what the repossession laws are first and foremost. So I'm kind of segueing into that. Let's just say the inevitable happens. I've had a couple of those where somebody's trying to repo my shit, whatever that is. Look at state of Indiana or your state, keyword, and find out what the repossession laws are. And now I'm going back to the dealership side again, and I'm saying, I know that when I repoed your car, what I was supposed to have done. I'm going to take it down to the lanes, I'm going to run it through, I'm going to sell it, and whatever the difference is, I'm supposed to, here I am again, supposed to send you a notice telling you what the difference is, and that's what you're on the hook for, not the entire note, which a lot of you probably have heard. So I now violated Indiana law again. If I did that, I'm not admitting shit, but if I did that, I violated Indiana law by taking your car, which I used to put the kill switches on the cars and the whole thing. If you didn't pay, I'd shut it off while you're in the Walmart parking lot. I was the guy. You know, here I am telling you kind of what the game is behind the scenes. You got to look at it from the dealer's perspective and the protection that you're trying to do for your business and all of that. I'm not giving anybody a pass. I'm putting all the dirty laundry out there, and we're talking as a group. So I wouldn't be so fired up to try to attack them, which is what I see on Brandon's page a lot about the fraud that they committed, blah, 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 not knowing the real violations, otherwise known as fraud. So that if you look at that TILA box and you do the research that I'm telling you is there are violations that are happening. And then if they take and they repo anything off of you, you have certain rights there. I promise you those rights are being violated as well. So attacking it from the wrong angle, I guess, is what I'm seeing so much of, and making those crazy arguments. You know, I've seen some people do some really cool stuff too on the other side, which is actually bring a camera into the finance manager's office, set it up, and record the entire interaction. Wow. Now there's what you want when you get a deposition on the record books. So, and they'll allow that to happen, by the way. So there are people taking on arguments that I see that I just think, and I just shake my head about, this guy signed for my, bro, I had a power of attorney. I'm promising you, if you bought a car off me, I signed your shit and you gave me the legal authority to do so, and you probably didn't even realize it. So I'm saying, taking on these arguments that you don't really understand, that I promise you a lot of the folks that are selling you the stuff that had a boss behind the scenes barking out, we're going to sell this much metal. There are a lot of things going on that if I were you, I would be focusing on and looking at all the things that happened to you in that process. I had a young lady earlier talking to me about, once upon a time, she tried to buy a car, and then her credit profile changed, let's call it a year and a half later, and then the company backed out. I mean, that's a big no-no. In good faith, you're trying to do what you said you wanted to do from a contracting standpoint, and now they're pulling that deal back from you. So, I mean, there's so many, yeah.
You said good faith. Touch base just a little bit on good faith and how important it is to operate in good faith.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, so if you're not operating in good faith, at least, this is what I say, starting with that supreme law that says we're not supposed to hurt each other, which we do openly, in a lot of different ways. I'm supposed to let you know. Now, if I'm trying to ambush you and take something straight into litigation, which here I am again admitting, I used to do that, and I got wiser and smarter in saying that's not, even though it was big businesses, I gave myself a pass. It's not the way to do it. Send across your stuff, certified, signature required, tell them what your frustrations are and what you want as remedy. There you go. That's good faith. I'm telling you what's going on. You're choosing to tell me to pound sand, and you're not going to change my credit profile. That's bad faith. Or ignoring me, or just not even hearing any of that stuff. So good faith is something that I truly operate by now, man. I mean, I'm truly going to tell you if we have a difference of opinion. I've shared a lot of my differences of opinion. It goes directly against a lot of thoughts in this room, and that's okay. We'll be able to get through that because we all have a common goal. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to give up my marriage certificate and blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck that the state of Indiana's in it. I don't have a drive. There's too many things to go down the list of where we disagree on things. So the commonality comes in whenever I'm on the side of the road. How do I handle that when the interaction happens? I talked to a gentleman earlier. It's a retired police guy. So it's awesome. It's awesome that we can learn off of each other. I'm not going to get my face smashed in, windows busted out, kids scarred for life. I have 2 grandbabies, and they're going to see me operating at this level, not getting my shit tore up. So I'm going to take and he's standing on his rights, and he's getting his ass beat in front of his 4 little kids in the back seat. He's a dumbass. That's not standing on your rights. That's stupidity. Take it into the courts, beat the shit out of them, rub their nose in the carpet because they pissed on it, just like you would your dog, and truly do something for mankind overall. Getting your ass handed to you in front of your family who are going to be scarred for the rest of their life is just, I can't even comprehend that. It's okay. There are people that really think that that's good too, and I'm cool with that. You know, so there's going to be a difference in how we all handle things, and I've heard that. I've literally had 20 people come up, which again, I appreciate that, and shared your stories, and it's awesome to hear. Here's how I would do it. Here's how you're doing it. You're going to be successful if you continue going this path, whether you do it my way or not. I mean, it's just, I think there's so many things that are happening in this world that we have so many opportunities to move the needle, and I think the courts truly are it. I may be wrong, but I think that's where you make the biggest change, and you're not going to go in there like an asshole barking out orders and throwing out all kinds. I see those manifestos, I call them. It's crazy to me. You know, we've said that earlier. So, yeah, the whole car note thing, I would love to do a deep dive on that. If anybody's got questions at all, this would be a really cool time. I don't want to dive all the way in. It's not going to be fair to Cam, who wants to jump up here soon and kind of go through his stuff. I really want some time for Snap-on, because that's where I'm going to give you the most impact to say, here's what I did, here's what you could do, and how you'll be successful. But the car note thing, I think that's something that I know a lot of eyeballs are seeing that now, because Brandon's done some really cool stuff there. A lot of people jumped on board, and now it's like, here we are post that, where it's a few months down the road, and a lot of things legally are happening now. And I'm seeing mistakes there happening, and I'm seeing some cool stuff where people are filing federal litigation, and they'll naturally reach out, and I'm like, hey, just do this, that, and the other. But if you guys have questions, man, that's where I can maybe at least give you my perspective from a dealer standpoint. I'm not saying it's the right standpoint. I already told you I'd bend you over back in a past life. So I want you to be able to ask me what I would do in this instance if there are any questions. If not, it's cool. We can move on. Yeah, bro. The question was being able to change the terms, I think, of the contract if you
Hold on.
took it home.
Let me get it to where he can ask again where it's loud for everybody.
Okay,
That's
cool.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I got it, though.
Yeah, just preparing yourself ahead of time, asking for the contract, and seeing what you can do to change the terms on that to set yourself up for success once you do get into litigation.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about preparation and anything. That's why I'm anal. That's Brandon, we laugh about it now. But I don't think he saw the silver lining once upon a time, for 100% accurate on what it was that I was doing, building the evidence and stuff. I'm not saying I'm intentionally going into an auto dealer, and I'm not saying you're saying that either. What you're saying is, yeah, I want to go in and do that videotaping in the financier's office or whatever that is, or see the contract. You do have federal and state that's going to tell you you have a right of rescission for 72 hours or whatever that is, depending on where you're at. So you can literally back out of the deal within the first 72 hours anyway, and you just got to send them the letter that in the moment that it hits the post office box, it's been served, is how the legal system looks at that. So if you find something after you leave and you want to re-up the terms of that, yeah, but absolutely you should be able to do that. You know, if it's something that you see that's drastic that's going on. But I think what a lot of people want, and I think this is the perception that a lot of people have about us, I didn't deal with this, is that people want free shit, you know, because there's been the whole talk about, well, I'm going to go in and there's the infinite money and the federal access. I didn't see that. I'm 100% upfront about that. I didn't have access to the Federal Reserve window. I'm not saying that credit acceptance did not. So I think there's something real there, only because Brandon's seen that there are banks and stuff that actually do have access. So I got to believe it's real. What it wasn't in my world. So If you saw something that was going on that you wanted changed on the deal, absolutely it should be rewritten. I don't think they're going to be too open about, which could be good for you. So they're not going to want to rewrite the deal. It's just going to be a pain in the ass, and they have to deal with the state and all of that other stuff. So they're going to try to flex on you as much as they can to try to not change any of the terms of the deal, just because it's so much of a pain in the ass in dealing with the states, like I said. So that sets you up, I think, in my mind, where it goes for the potential and a win there from a litigation standpoint. Because here we are again, you just ask it, and here you are. You're telling them in good faith, here's what's up. Just like I tell Experian, here's what you're reporting wrong on my credit profile. I've given them the opportunity to give me the remedy, which is to fix what we were ultimately wanting to do, which is a car deal. So if they're not allowing you to do that, they're setting themselves up to give you grounds to be able to have a cause of action. So when you know that, it's like, okay, cool. You know, or I spend a lot of time in that TILA box up there because I know that's where the good's at. If you want to truly, you know, move the needle as far as against a dealer, they're not giving you the three. I don't care who it is. You can tell me that. I'm not going to believe you. The three disclosures they got to point out. It's got to be predominant. It's got to be in bold. It's got to be a certain typeset. Blah 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 blah. So that's not happening. The terms of the deal are always fucked up. The interest rates are wrong. The overall payment structure is wrong. I'm giving you all the sauce to say everything in that box I would question 100%. If gap insurance is involved, there's a whole other issue in itself right there with, you know, gap insurance and stuff. So yeah, I would look at for me, that's the low-hanging fruit, because I know where the value's at in that. But to your point, yeah, we could definitely change something. They just won't. It's just like Experian's not going to change anything that I send across, or Snap-on or Amex. They're just going to completely ignore me, which is ultimately great for me because it gives me the grounds. I've given you the goodwill. You just told me to pound sand. Now I can do my business. I got, you know, so. Look at what the car deal is, though, man. I think that's where you're really going to move the needle. What is it? What is it you were trying to do? How were you trying to contract? How were you screwed in the deal on the contract? And I promise you were. So I'd look at it through that new, fresh set of eyes. TILA is where it's at. Going a bit further, and then maybe there'll be some questions around that. Let's just say that there is an issue with a payment and stuff because you probably are not making payments, is what I see a lot of people not doing because they paid it in full by the signature, all of that. I get it. I'm with you. But that's going to hit your credit profile at some point. Guess whose world you just stepped back in? I love this. So when it hits your credit profile, now you have the grounds there to pursuant to another federal statute, the one that I love so dearly. And then there's the opportunity there too for once the collection company comes, and they will. You know, I've told a few people this already. This is I love this. So for me, it was Commercial Collections of New York that came out and sent me a letter, and immediately I went to the Secretary of State of Indiana. I searched Commercial Collections in New York. Guess who didn't have a certificate of authority in the state of Indiana? And that happens. So 9 out of 9 times, I can say this with confidence, if anybody comes after you for anything, the chances are very high that they don't have the authority in your state to be able to do what they're saying they can. There's those presumptions again. They're sending you stuff and trying to get you to contract. My favorite one from a 1692 standpoint, now we're talking about Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, is they'll call you and try to get you to opt in. I love that when somebody's calling and saying, hey, you owe me $66,000 on this line. Like, who the fuck are you and what are you talking about? Send it to me in writing, which they won't do because they'll know you have something that's in print that you can dispute. But whenever they call you over the telephone, what they're looking to do is to get you to agree, recontract. And they can. As soon as you say, yes, I am Joey Kimbrough. Mistake. I don't know who you are. You sound like some Indian cat. I don't like you guys. Whatever you say, make sure you're telling them to send you something in writing. So that's a big one too. So there's just so many things from the car deal that can give you the upper hand if that's what you're looking for whenever the shit hits the fan, if the shit hits the fans. Not to be scared about any of it, but to be able to exert your authority moving forward with some of those things that I just told you. If you know those things, you can go back. Let them take the car. That's the greatest thing in the world for you. And they sell it. And go study your repossession laws. They're there. And I guarantee you they violated things. So, yeah, any of that stuff around payments and credits and stuff, once it hits your profile, you start disputing that stuff. Now it's like, I was telling somebody earlier, it's like I had $154,000 of Amex debt across 6 credit cards when I had 4 dealerships. I'll let you guess if I paid that. My mother-in-law is in New York City, Brooklyn, born and raised, still has the accent, living in Indiana. But Faye's got all this fucking money from all this litigation. They sue everybody. They sue the New York City fucking fire department. That's what we've been trained, that litigation is bad. That was a horrible impersonation. If anybody's from New York, I'm sorry about that. But it's so real, man, that litigation is not bad if it's done the right way for the right purpose. And I'm the first one to say, don't go out and sue everybody. I've been down that path. It's not good. Let anybody know what's going on. Litigation is not bad. I can't say that enough times. As long as you've let them know what's going on, they've had the opportunity to remedy that, and it just doesn't happen. So anyway, that's kind of it in a nutshell about. Does anybody got a question? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So I was denied service at the dealership for signing without recourse under my signature, and but I was accepted by Capital One or one of the agencies, but they wanted me to change my signature, and we kept mentioning the TILA Act, and they can't tell me, they're not attorneys, they can't tell me how to sign, and so I asked for a denial letter. They refused to give it to me. They said it would come in the mail, which it did. I'm afraid to do litigation. My friends are telling me that I should probably do that, and so yeah, that just signing without recourse is kind of what set me off.
Yeah, what happened there?
It's interesting that Capital One was the one that said they would fund the deal, and then the dealership was the one that backed out on it. It said that that's horseshit.
The bank, and they had without recourse under their signature, so I was kind of.
So you're
like,
just
why
following
can't I
suit.
have that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where when we're trying to contract, the terms of the deal are kind of, in the dealerships, we actually, Brandon and I, there's a guy that's in his group, guy, that's going through a Harley deal in Portland, Oregon, kind of similar thing, where Harley-Davidson Finance said okay, and then the dealership called and said bring it back because he'd signed kind of the same way you're talking about. So it's one of those things where, man, I wouldn't want to give you be ready for the uphill battle. A young man asked me earlier about, well, should I give my social security number? And I would just tell you this, me being the dealer, if you didn't give me the social security number, I'd just say, hey, bro, we just can't do business. We can't break bread. If they're telling you that you can't sign it without recourse, they already know what you're doing there. The same thing they're doing, which is they're not liable for anything thereafter as soon as you do it. So they know what you're doing, they know what's going on there, and they're trying to avoid that, because here's where the dealership, now it's kind of clicking for me why they stepped in. We're under the scrutiny of the lender, so that's going to be a bad car deal against the dealer. There's no doubt about that. The dealer's going to have to deal with this, and it's going to probably affect the terms that they have with Capital One. For me, credit acceptance, I had a pool of 100 deals that I had to do, and then I got a bonus off of that, and it's usually about $25K or more. So if so many of those deals go south, and I have to, do things. So I'm going to step in as the dealer, like they just did there, and says, "Nah, you can't sign like this." They already know that the shit's going to hit the fan. But to your question, do you have a case? Yeah, it's all in how you build the case, how you present the case, very well knowing how you're going in. What are the grounds for that? You should be able to contract. So you have to think through all of those and get your causes of action in order. To say again, we're back to who are the parties. You already know who those are, you and the dealer. What is the jurisdiction that's going to give you give the court the authority to get you the relief you want? What is the relief? Have you thought through that? You want the car outright? So I'm putting you on the spot. I already know the answer to that. So it's like you got to be able to go in there and say, hey, because of what they did illegally, I was violated, my rights were in some capacity, and here's what I'm owed as a result of that. And I don't think we do a good enough job building that out in our mind, what it looks like, before we'll go in and do that. We're more building it out from the perspective of, I'm not saying this is you, I'm saying I see a lot of people say, what can I get for free? Or just that whole mindset. And I'm not saying that's anybody here for that matter. It's just, if you've built it out, you already know what it is, you ought to be able to communicate with the dealerships. So why, in good faith again, like I was talking about, I'm ready to buy the car, as you were. I came in, I was ready to do a contract with you, and just because of the way I signed that, you threw me away like I'm a piece of trash kind of thing. So you have something there that if you built it out the right way, now it might be an uphill battle, like Brandon's arguments and stuff. But because I don't see anything hitting your credit report, or I don't see anything crazy like repossession laws, because they didn't even allow you to take delivery of the vehicle. They just said, I don't think, did they? Yeah, so you didn't get anywhere with it other than...
My credit, we were there for like hours, and they went back and forth into the finance manager's office, and finally he came out and he was like, we're just going to refuse you service because you're not signing, you're not changing your signature.
And we recorded it.
We recorded everything.
Okay.
So.
I think that it would be an uphill battle, but it's one that I would take on if I thought I was screwed by anybody, in any capacity. So you just got to be ready to know what it is, the argument. And there is not an attorney on the face of the earth that would take that on, because, the banks are who control a lot, going down that path. So I wouldn't tell you not to do anything. I just say it would be a tough one, I think, to say that because you didn't sign something the way they wanted you to sign, that gave them the ability. We can back out of a deal at any point. That's part of the whole concept of contracting. So I can back out of the deal just like you can back out of the deal. You've got the 72 hours to rescind your signatures and stuff. Well, me as a dealer, if it's going south, I can back out of it too. I'm sure there was something there in play that said that the dealer had the ability to be able to back out for whatever reason. And if they're going to use the bullshit excuse that it was because of a signature, which we know what the signature means and why that we put that on there, and it's so we all know that. And then at some point, somebody in the legal world told the finance manager, "Hey, here's what happens when she leaves. She's not." I'm not saying she's not going to pay, because you might have made every payment, whatever, so there's no way for them to prove that, but you're not obligated for that, which that scared the shit out of them. I'm not going to let you leave and say, I trust you that you're going to pay the $450 a month, when you could say pound sand, I'm not paying anything, I already have. And that's I think the whole argument behind that. So there's a lot of moving parts there, but I don't see anything from a federal statutory piece in my world, the debt collection practices, TILA, unless you found something like up in the TILA box that said, now you could make the argument that he's discriminating against you in some capacity because whatever. I mean, it's just one of those arguments I think would be tough to build out, but I'd love to see it in action. I mean, it's back to proof. Prove that I wasn't going to pay, or prove that whatever, it's what are they trying to do by keeping you? I know what they were trying to do, and I think you do too. No, they're not going to say that. Yeah, they wouldn't say that in court. They'd have a bar card that would be doing everything he can as an advocate to smash your complaint and get it thrown out, dismissed, 12b-6. No, you didn't have any right to bring the cause of action. So I think that's where they would go. But it's one of those, state court's cheap. For me, it's about $150 in Indiana. Federal court's $405, $420-ish, depending if you're in Indiana or California. So it's $400-ish. So if you want to roll the dice, and try it in state court, there's some stuff that I know Brandon's wanting to build out that I'd like to be a part of in small claims too, which is another avenue to look at for a lot of stuff that we're talking about. Small claims is everything we're talking about in infinite speed. And with Indiana, again, $10,000 cap, you guys, it may be different. I've seen 6,000, 12,000, but it's somewhere usually in that low five-figure kind is the cap, the jurisdictional limit that you have in small claims. I used to play in that all the time because I had 14 rentals, so I was always suing one of my tenants. So, and it was fast. I mean, it's come in, present your stuff. There's you can do a jury trial if you want. It's kind of hokey. I mean, it's 6 weeks down the road usually, but I'm filing an eviction notice, quick after that. I'm saying all of this to say that's another avenue. I love federal court like it's my own. State court's right up there, which small claims is a part of state court. So depending on where you want to go, what your capacity is, and what your arguments are, small claims is definitely something to look at, especially from a credit standpoint. And crazy enough, I've not tested that because a lot of the claims are north of the jurisdictional limit of 10K. If I'm asking for that, that's the first thing they're going to do is throw out my cause of action because I'm above the jurisdictional limit. It's horseshit, and I know that. But if it's something where I'm just saying I've been damaged from a credit standpoint and there's really not a dollar value that I'm purporting, I think I can get stuff moved like real fast. So I'm thinking about that. But I like the federal aspect because I always go in, for me, for damages. And I like those federal claims.
I'll just stare at your pretty face. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. Okay, so in December of last year, I helped my partner get a car, and he really needed a car because his car was, anyways, he needed
I wish I would have known you when I was in my 20s. That's what I needed, was the guy that bought me the car. I'm playing.
So he signed it, paid for the order of, in his all caps name, by semicolon, signature, comma, agent, and they asked, what's that, like with that request, they looked it up and they still let him sign it, so that was really cool. And then within that month, they came back and said, you have to re-sign it. But he corresponded through email, and we recorded all the phone calls and all that stuff, so everything's been recorded. And he said, are you trying to give me legal advice? And then, they came back and he didn't hear from them for a while. And he also he gave them a virtual address, and he still hasn't checked his mail. But they tried to come back and tell him that you haven't been approved, you have to return the car, come back, we'll put you into something else, bring the car back. And so there was that, but he didn't want to bring the car back. He's not gonna, just hand over the car. And so we're camp hosts, and we volunteered at a state park. And one of the state park rangers pointed out that our registration, we didn't know that registration was expired. We paid no attention. And this was in California too. And it's still expired. And they made a big deal about it. They're like, oh, you have to get it registered, and let us know as soon as you give us a confirmation number that you registered it, because it's been expired. And we don't want to get pulled over because, as far as I know, the cops have more claim to the car than we do, rights to the car, because it's still registered. But we went to the DMV, and the DMV said that there's no record, it's still pending. So we weren't even able to get it registered or update. We were willing to pay the registration, but yeah, so we don't know what to do.
I got this one. Let me just say one thing real quick. So there's a lot of shit on this. I've heard tons and tons of things from all sorts of different people. There's banks that it says pending, and they're pending the loan, and it just sits there. And they call in, nobody knows, everyone's confused, nobody has a fucking clue. Everybody's running around with their heads chopped off. You go on the DMV, none of them have any fucking clue. Everyone's lost their fucking mind. We don't know. I have no idea. There's so much craziness and so many people and so many things. They, for all I know, they just say, fuck this. Everyone says fuck this. They jam it in a drawer, and that's the end of it. And nobody ever sees it again. I'm not even kidding. And you're just driving around, and it's just never going to get processed. I mean, that's just, everyone sees it, and they go, fuck, you going to do this? Fuck, I don't even know what the fuck this is. The guy said he's an attorney. In fact, oh, don't call that guy. You know what I mean? You don't know, So the thing is there's just so much craziness with this, and these guys have never, ever seen anyone do this. And they're all stupid as fuck. So I've talked to bankers with like 30, 35 years of experience. Hey, I have a question for you. What's a negotiable instrument? It's like, oh, yeah. I heard about that before. Oh, yeah, totally. Oh, yeah, that's like a security. That's a security, right? It's like, motherfucker, you've been working for the bank for 30 fucking years. Makes me want to just take like a claw hammer to their fucking face. You know what I mean? So I don't want to get too many peppered different questions where it's like, well, this and that and this and that. Yeah, we're going to keep seeing a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of fucking weirdness, a lot of chaos. You're going to see shit where they just stick it in a drawer and nobody can ever find it again. Well, fuck it. Drive the car around until someone cleans out the drawer in fucking 7 years or something. I don't know. I mean, that's basically it right there.
So my solution, the workaround, I have a private trust in my all caps name, the way that Brandon in his 2.0 course showed me how to do. So I'm thinking about just getting the DOT number, what is it, Lusty? What's this? Lustica. Yeah, how he showed us how to do. So I might just do that, get a DOT number and just make it a private vehicle, and then explain to like the state park rangers, like, oh, it's just a private vehicle, even though they probably don't. Well, they probably know what a DOT number is. So hopefully that works out, because I don't want to lose my can't post position.
I can say one thing on that real quick too.
Wait, I'm going to touch on this real quick.
Real
if
quick.
You don't mind.
Can
I please?
The DOT thing, real quick, 2 seconds.
Come on, man.
It's pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, just tell them, look, I'm not a resident of a state, so I had to register the vehicle at the federal level. It's a federal registration. Okay. I'm not a resident of any of the states, so I had to register at the federal level. It's federal registration. I got it. I'm not a resident of any of the states. It's a federal registration because I can only register at the federal level. That's it.
Very cool.
And if you need to say it 7, 9, 14 times, or they come back the next day and they go, did you ever get that registration done? It's like, oh, good to see you, Bob. Wow, how you doing, brother? Hey, man, I don't know if I told you last time, but I'm actually not a resident of any of the states, and it's actually a federal registration because I can only get registered at the federal level.
Right, yeah.
Good to see you, broski. You see, that's all it is. Yeah. That's all it is. That's what I think anyways, but.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. And then we'll still litigate as well, but yeah.
There was a lot that you just unpacked in that car deal. But I always look at it through the credit piece. What Brandon was just telling you there at the federal level and stuff, I promise you nobody's going to understand what you're talking about. They're going to look at it like you're an alien. And it's just not the time or the place to, it's like the guy getting his window smashed in, because they're going to challenge you on it, and it is what it is. You already know that's coming. But as far as your partner in the deal you went in and you co-signed for him.
No, I didn't co-sign.
Oh, you didn't? Did you buy it outright?
No, I didn't help. I just helped him what he
Okay.
wanted to sign, you know.
All right, so he's doing the whole deal himself.
I wanted to co-sign, but I
Got it.
said no, I want to do my own thing. So
Got it.
yeah, he just signed it. I just helped him sign off of what he did. I should have.
I would say the same thing, look at his credit profile, what's going on with that. There's going to be the grounds.
He just has one discharge.
Good. That's okay. In this car itself, was that the discharge?
No, it was.
Death or something? Okay. So it's already off legally. Really? That's interesting. See, that's, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things that's causing him damage in some capacity by it being on there, and it shouldn't be on there, even if he had filed a bankruptcy or something. So there's a lot going on there. I'd look at the TILA stuff. I'd look at the credit stuff. When the debt collectors come, I'd look at the fair debt collection practices. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on. But the last thing that I would do is change the deal. That's what they're wanting to do now, to remove that liability that they see on there, the way he signed it and so forth. So yeah, I mean, once you get out of the dealership with the car, I'm not telling you to ignore the phone calls, but ignore the phone calls. So it's just all of that stuff. They're going to chase you around. They're going to take that. You got to prepare yourself for the worst case scenario and hope for the best, not fear anything in between. You were one of those people I didn't like. You're a cute gal too, and you're telling me your dirty stuff now. So I had that happen to me, by the way. A guy took my car, took off the kill switch that I had in Lafayette, Indiana, because he found somebody like that and drove it to Boston. So I was screwed. I lost the car. So I'm not hating on you for that. It's good for you. And I lived through it too. So it's just, we're all trying to make ourselves smarter through processes or whatever that is. What your partner did there, he did the right stuff in good faith, is how I have to look at it. He's wanting a car deal. He signed it the right way that he knows is going to work for him. And now all the games are starting behind the scenes. You're going to change to this, you're going to do this, or, I'm telling you, worst case scenario is they hit his credit profile, which is the best case scenario. That's where I light up and say, this is awesome. Or they come and they try to start collecting, or they come and they repo it, or whatever it is, the outcome. I'm not looking at that's something that I'm fearing or is a detriment. I'm looking at that as some type of a blessing that's going to make me grow, and getting into the litigation world with the proper argument there will be really cool for him, because he has everything set up, man, for a perfect walking away with the car. So I think that's cool. I mean, hang in there, keep us posted, no doubt about it. But I think when you start with the DOT stuff and it's in a trust and this, that, and the other, I don't understand a lot of that stuff. I know that some dude that's a park ranger is not going to understand it. And I'm not sure I'm smart enough to be able, on the fly, when I'm scared shitless or whatever it is, sitting there being peppered because there's 3 goons sitting here looking at me the wrong way. It's not the time from now. I'm different, at a certain stage in life. I would be able to bring the energy down and be able to talk to them, but on the fly, man, that's intimidation 101. They're going to be there. They got a job to do too, because somebody sent them. They're just going to make you think that you're the worst person in the world. Typically is the case. I try to get that feeling away as fast as I can, and the only way to do that is to get it into the court, because it shuts everybody up. There's no more nonsense. There's no more talking. It's let us handle it in the court system. I actually counsel people to do bankruptcy a lot of times. I was sharing that with guys up here a little while ago. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's back to those people that said, litigation's bad. Bankruptcy's bad. We've all been told that, it's horrible. It's a horrible thing. Well, I don't think so. And I'm the person that can get it removed in 6 weeks after it hits the profile. So I'm saying that from a different spot. I'm never going to tell you not to pay bills and do this, do that. People will interpret that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you that if you have to go down a path, there are options for you there, and that is a great option. There's ways that you have to protect yourself through that. You're doing a lot of that stuff with a trust. I'm not saying you're going to file or anything. I'm just saying people don't understand. They don't understand where the trustee goes back 3 months to look at your assets. So, all right, I'm going to go lock everything up in a trust and file bankruptcy next Monday to get all the stuff stayed, because that's what happens. As soon as you file, it stays, is what they call it, which stops any kind of stuff going on. You can reaffirm any debt you want. You can reaffirm your house and cut off all the nonsense, So if you're putting stuff in trust, that's a great play. It's a great option, but be careful on the timing there, because a federal trustee is going to go back 3 months. I'm not telling you to commit fraud, bankruptcy fraud, but there are people that toe that line. You need to know the process for anything that you're getting yourself into, because I promise you what you and I have heard throughout time, me more so because I've been around longer, is just, it's not 100% accurate. It's giving you a version of somebody else putting you in a horrible position that's not in your benefit. So I love that option. Brandon and I are actually talking to a guy right now about it. It's like, bro, just file it. He's convinced to finally do that. Now, there is something I said, I'll never hire a bar card even if I committed murder tonight. That's one where it's so freaking cheap. It's like $1,800 to hire a bankruptcy attorney. You literally file out the worksheets. I get into this now. I get into the credit stuff. Chapter 13 is 7 years. It's on your profile. Chapter 7 is 10 years. We've been trained that you're going to live in purgatory for 10 years, and that's horrible that you've been told that, because here's what federal law says about bankruptcies and how they're reported. It says they may report those. And there's a big distinction that you need to know. They may, which means they can if they want to and they choose to. When it says must, it's mandatory, which it doesn't. So there's a big distinction there between must, mandatory, shall, should be mandatory, and may means that they can or they can. So when you're talking about all that stuff, there is nothing in law. That's where people are wrong. If somebody's telling you they have to report it on my profile for 10 years, that's horseshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. It says they can if they want to and they choose to. They choose to because what Uncle Joey said earlier, which is there is a whole subprime community that's behind that that's going to charge you 24.99 in Indiana at least, and maybe even higher in your state, especially if you're in New York or probably California. So there's a whole subprime that's driving you there. I'm not getting into conspiracy here. I'm just telling you that if you don't qualify for a prime, there's a reason why if you miss one payment, you drop from an 800 to 660. Because 660 and below is horrible as far as, I think, a subprime. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't get you on a car note. It's just going to be at that higher interest rate. And if that's what you want, good for you. I'm just telling you, you don't need to be there. I guess is the biggest message your credit profile, there's only one person in this world that's responsible for that, and I hope you look in the mirror and figure out who that is. It's not the judge, it's not the attorney, it's not Equifax, it's not this horrible car company that I had that I'm pounding your credit profile. Whatever, you should challenge that all the time. Find the inaccuracies that are there, challenge and dispute those inaccuracies, create your profile, create your evidence folder, and just own it, man. There's I say this, and I hope nobody thinks I'm boasting. I will never be under an 800 credit score in this life. I just checked mine this morning because I would not stand up here and tell you I'm something I'm not. And I can show anybody that wants to see it. Logged in this morning, I'm 831. So I'm 19 points away from perfect. And for me, I told you the ego the size of Texas, that's not good enough because I'm not 850. 850 is where I'm like the top person. So anyway, you don't have to be crazy anal about it, but there's no reason why you're not an 800. And I was telling somebody earlier that if you came into my dealership at a 600 or below, and I saw a lot of them usually in the fives, I'll get you into a deal. It's usually subprime, and you have to understand the mechanics happening behind the scenes there. I've sent your file out to my whole lender base, and now you're getting 17 inquiries, and you're pissed off about it because each one of those inquiries is costing you 5 points. Now you're pissed off at me, and you should be. So I'm giving you all the sauce, but if you're an 800 credit score, I said this jokingly, but I'm not so sure that I was joking when I said it. I would not let you out of the lobby. I'd keep you there at gunpoint because I know all the options that are there. I'm going to make a lot more off of that deal because I'm going to get you into a credit union probably, or some prime deal that's going to make me the most amount of money. It's going to put you in the best position. Like the young gal I was talking about at 24.99, she's in a 2010 model, paying $300 a month more than she would be paying in a 2024 model just because of her credit is fucked up. So please put the blame on me if that makes you feel better, but I'd love to tell that gal to say, hey, give me 6 months, we'll get this thing turned around, come back, Uncle Joey's gonna put you in something, one, as a dad and a grandfather, is more dependable, lower cost, and better for you overall. But when it's get 55 cars out, that's not the message that everybody else is hearing. It's pound them as quick as you can. So anyway, your profile is yours, but there are remedies for that, man. There is no reason that if I made this statement, it's 100% true, and I hope you believe it. There is no reason why everybody in this room is not an 800. And I can say that, and I know that 80% of the people in here are not. I know the statistics. I'm not bullshitting when I say it. Yeah, what's up, bro?
But I was curious because she started using a debt collection group. I forget, it's like Freedom, something like that. Freedom Debt, something like that, right? So she's been paying this thing down, and she's got 2 cards, and they've been going back and forth. Or she's paid one, and then they didn't give her a settlement till the other. And they only contact her on the phone. I've made it very clear. She said, I only do business in writing. We're trying to get that. They will not send a bill, but she's got like a $20,000 kind of just sitting in limbo thing here. Her credit score is up to a 760, and it was like way low. And she's paid off this other thing, and I was like, hey, I feel like, can she ask for a true bill I know she can't, from the collection agency, right? There's not a bill, right? It's not there.
It's not a gray area, but I promise you that she recontracted in with them in some capacity. If she started making payments to them, which you just said she did, she's with them. Now, what I would have loved to have had her done before she went that route, she's trying to do the right thing in her mind, because she's like my wife, who says, you took on a debt, you should pay it. She married the wrong guy. So, and again, that sounds horrible, but because I'm coming from a different place, because I have a different set of eyes, what I would have loved to have heard that she had done, her beef is with the original creditors. That's the only people that can take and put her over, and they won't. So she helped out the original creditors by signing on with this debt consolidation company. I know that model. I looked at it for a while. It's pay us X, we're going to keep 70% and give the 30 to the original. So the original creditors are somewhat getting bent over as well, but it's better than zero. I would have loved to have seen her taken on the fight with the two original creditors and not with the debt consolidation company. I'm honestly, I'm just going to say what I'm thinking right now. I don't know if she has a horse in the race to fight it unless she stopped paying the debt consolidation company. Now it creates a whole other issue because they're going to start reporting out. That's the only thing that I have to keep you in line, which is what I want to do, right? Is I can report out on your credit, get you to subprime. There's a whole business there for that. That's my whole scary boogeyman kind of thing. Without that, there's really not there. But when they do that, they give you the biggest blessing that they can if you know how to dispute it, to tell them to pound sand. The debt consolidation company has no horse in the race. They're not going to do anything. You just signed up to pay them $1,000 a month. They're keeping $700. The other guy's getting $300. It's just, they're greasy. So I would cut them off. I would stop paying them altogether and say, it's been a real slice of heaven, but see you later. And then the only way that anybody is going to come out now, and I'm saying a lot of things off the cuff here right now. If she signed up with a contract with them in some capacity, now there's the breach of contract claims. It's one of those two where I have a lot of people call me for a $2,500 credit card that they're scared shitless of. I get it, there's the fear thing, but bro, $2,500, you're going to burn up attorneys' times. It's all about the deal size too. I already know. The Capital One's not going to come after you for a $2,500 credit card when it's going to cost them $100,000 to get to trial if you know what the hell you're doing. So there's that. If they have a bar card, now the bar card's not going to necessarily tell them the right game here. They're going to get some of that $350 an hour that they're wanting because they're all about billables. There's a whole big machine moving there. So I'm rambling on, but I would just tell her to ignore, in my opinion. I'd look at the contract to see, am I breaching the contract? What's the size? I mean, if it's $100,000 we're talking about, it's different than $5K. They're not going to come after her for $5K. 100, okay, I might, So, and then you have the two original creditors who now have a horse in the race too. So I just kind of look at that, and then I'd decide kind of how I wanted to take that on. For me, I never would have went that route. You already know that with debt consolidation. No, but she's good there, man. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Now, at a 760, this is the crazy thing about that, too. Well, Uncle Joey, the way you're painting the picture is 760's good, 550's bad. I would tell you that I've had some 550 deals that got prime lending because I was amazed. Because I sent the deal over to a credit union. This guy had got micro loans, I'll call, for a number of years. He was a cook at Cracker Barrel. And he was making, whatever you make. And he'd just done the right things. Even though he was a 550 credit score, they gave him a prime note. And I've had people with 760s, like your girl, that's not got something because of something stupid on their profile that makes that underwriter question what's going on, And that's the key. You have the human element in there too. What is it you're asking for? Does your lifestyle support what it is you're asking for? And there's a lot of moving pieces when you're looking at it. I've looked at thousands of credit profiles. I can tell you exactly what they look like because I pushed a lot of deals. So not everyone looks the same thing, and you may have a 760 that's worse than, as crazy as that sounds, a 550. So it's all in what's on there. There's a whole bunch of people in my space that send out a bunch of craziness too, that think that age of the account is superior to utilization, is superior to, there are 5 components there too. I'm a big fan of get your utilization in check. If you have something on your profile that's not serving you, it's got to go. well, wait a minute, Joey, I talked to such and such, and he said because that account's 20 years old, I should leave it. Okay, what do you want? Because if you leave it on there for that component and you have a $8,000 balance on a $10,000 card, you're 80% utilization rate, which is horrible. If you're not 10 or under, you're getting pounded on that. So there are a lot of components there. I know exactly what's keeping my 831 from an 850, and it fucking makes me mad. They want me to take on more debt. They tell me, here's the two components that you have to have. And my oldest credit line is 21 years old, and it needs to be 25. So here we are, we've talked about the social score and all this, that, and the other. They're telling me I have to hit these. Now, I could go out and get an authorized user, maybe my mother-in-law from New York, who I know is well above 800 as well, who's gonna have her Discover card. Oh, honey, no problem, I'm an authorized user. I check off that box. I'm an 850. So I know all of the things that you have to do to get there. It's just I'm too lazy to do it. So the only way to, yes, I will talk about on Snap-in. Thank you so much for reminding me. And I've done a lot of stuff with Navy Federal, so that means you probably served at one time. Thank you. I mean that, so that's cool. It is going to tank. One payment being missed is going to take you down. And again, I'm not getting this conspiracy stuff, but I think there's a reason for that, and it's to get you as fast to subprime as I can, if I'm them. Because I can make a lot more money off of you at 24.99 than I can at 6%. So there's no way for you to get it off to where it's going to serve you without the litigation. That's part of the settlement process. And why 40 of the 45 that I'm talking about is wins, and you define win however you want. Most of the people that come, like let's say you came and say, hey bro, help me out. I would go after, first off, I want to know what you want. Are you wanting to go after damages? And if you do, I got to get you to the real world, because we have to decide what that is. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully. It's like a lot of people don't understand. Do you have real damages? Did you apply for a $2.5 million loan like I did, and I had the denial that I could fall on? So there's a strategic way to go about and be more effective in the settlement piece of the side that's going to help. They're not going to pull anything off the profile until they get that, what is, and I'll just call it what it is, a 408 letter is what I refer to it at, and it's federal rule of evidence. It's called an offer in compromise. It's where I send you as the attorney what my settlement terms are and what I'll accept as relief, and it can't be used. It's not grounds for admissible. It can't be used in the courts. It's really where we can communicate with one another, me and the attorney, without either of us, because I don't trust them any more than they do me. And that's the way it should be. So I send it over and I say, hey, just take the shit off the report, bro. I don't want any money. Go away. And they always, the 40 got their credit score raised overnight, because they built everything out effectively with the evidence. Then as soon as the attorney filed in, the first thing that I do, and we'll go through that in detail, I hope, is I reach out to the attorney and I say, hey man, I want an amicable resolution for your client and me. Here we are again, man. I'm that dude. I really truly want that too, by the way. If we're so far off on what it is that can serve you and serve me, then we need to do this litigation process. If I'm asking for, and I'm gonna pick on Brandon, $250 million or a black card, I'm more likely not to be taken serious than just get your shit off my profile. He's my boy. So I've seen those, I see how they work. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work. He might get a black card, but there's gonna be a steep climb to get there for that, versus, hey, take your nonsense off that I have all the proof in the world for. So Navy Federal will take it off. They're gonna have to take it off, but it's only gonna be whenever you, so that whole process is they would send you over a settlement demand. It'd have the whole disparaging NDA kind of stuff that you can't talk about, which I'm up here talking about right now. But the other part of that too, before they would take anything off, is they want the affirmation that you're going to drop your claims with prejudice. So we're not going to talk about this anymore. Now, that's from that date back. So if Experian cracks me from the day that I signed my stuff forward, they're fair game. Same thing with Navy Federal. Now, this is where we would be having the talk. What is it you're wanting here? You want $150K because you got denied a loan and all of those things. You have to realize that Navy Federal is probably not going to do business with you again. And that's where a lot of people, well, I don't want that. I want to be able to use my Capital One card because such and such told me I could if I discharged these things. Let's get back into the real world again. You know, we decided we were going to end our relationship together, me and Capital One. So I can't pull them back into something, and they don't want to do that. I mean, that's part of that contracting. They have every right to deny me, just as I have every right to not apply for them. It's really a gray area where you're unsolicited and all kinds of other stuff. I look at my son, who's 24, has a great job, and he gets solicited 6 times a week from Amex, who's trying to drag him into the commercial world. Dad is an 831, and I'll never be solicited by Amex again because I pounded them. You know, they don't want to do business with me anymore, so that's okay. We're still friends. You know, I did what I had to do, and you did what you had to do. So I think a lot of people just unrealistically think, I know that they do, I hear this all the time, is I'm going to go sue them, they're going to pay me money, or they're going to fix my shit, and then I unrealistically think that I'm going to be able to jump back in the pool with them again, and that's just not the case. I'm not saying that's what you're going to do at all. I just, I know people that ask me that all the time, like, well, they get really crazy about it. I want to keep my Capital One. I just literally had a guy who's living in Bali right now reach out to me on Instagram. It happens all the time. I love what you and Brandon are doing. So I get on the phone with him, and we go through his profile, and I said, here's what's going on. And he got crazy on me when I said these 6 accounts, credit cards, are going to go bye-bye. They're never going to, well, I don't want to do that. Well, what do you want to do? You're asking them to do something, again, back to the, I want an amicable resolution for me and them. You're asking them to perform in some capacity, which is either get rid of your debt or fix your profile so that you can go out and contract with people again in a good capacity. And then you're asking them to, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I can connect the dots now because I know what I'm asking from them. And it's just some people get really territorial and weird about that. I just don't understand that. At one time, I think I was there as well, that, you know, I should be able to sue somebody, you know, and then they're going to work with me again. That's just not how it works, you know. So, yeah, it's a good question, man. And we'll go through that, definitely. So he's asking if your circle gets tighter and if you're living more in a private world kind of thing, and does that kind of draw the circle in even tighter?
I've used cash 20 years.
I have too, somewhat.
I went to get an apartment, and they go, fuck off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And everyone goes, oh, in America you have to have this, and you have to have that, and you have to be able to prove.
Bad credit is worse. No credit is worse than bad credit.
Well, this is why litigation's so nice, is because I beat you over the head, kill you, eat your body, and then I come back the next week and I'm looking for food. Oh, no, we're not going to work with you. Oh, no problem. Discrimination. Just sue them for discrimination. And then go through that and then come back a couple weeks later, 2 weeks later. Hi, guys. Good to see you. Hi, guys. Good to see you, man. Been a while, Jim. Good to see you, buddy. Hey, man, I want to work with you guys again. I'm hungry. No, dude, we could do that last week. Or go to a different location. Hi, I'm Bob. Nice to meet you. Hey, man. Hey, man, I'm looking for to get a credit card opened. Can I get a credit card opened? Oh, yeah, no problem, sir. Have a seat. Nice, thanks, man. Sit down. Do all the application like it's just some fucking dumbass. Oh, do I sign here, sir? Oh, okay. I'll sign here. Oh, we're sorry. We can't give you a credit card. Oh, why is that? Oh, because we don't know. No, you know, that's usually what a lot of what we're seeing now is nobody knows anything. Everybody, oh, I don't know. And now you just sue him for discrimination. Thank you very much, Bob. Good to see you. Call Bob in as a witness for the case, a discrimination case. Go to the next location. File it. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? William. Oh, man, William. Great to meet you, bud. Hey, man, I wanted to do an application for a credit card. Great, man. Have a seat. Great. Do I sign here? Oh, you know, I can't give you a credit card. Oh, William, why? I don't know. Fucking hey, William. Well, hey, man. It's been a pleasure, brother. Lawsuit. You could do it forever. You could do it forever. You could do that literally until the fucking day you die. That's what I'm going to do.
And what will it accomplish? Because I went to the bank and I signed UCC 1 and 308 and that, and they went not re-signed. So I signed without prejudice.
Dude, no, okay, stop. You guys, no one knows. No one fucking knows the answers to any of these questions. I don't know the answers. Everyone's fucking retarded. That is actually your answer. The answer to your question is everyone's fucking retarded. The answer to your question is everyone's fucking retarded. That is the actual answer to your actual question. Like, literally, I'm not even fucking with you. You're like, well, okay, we have a negotiable instrument. And the negotiable instrument has a blank endorsement, and they're telling me to re-sign it. They don't even know what the fuck. Why do I need to re-sign it for? I don't know. I was told. By who? By fucking, I don't know. I think it was Jesus of Nazareth told me you needed to fucking re-sign it. Oh, what does Jesus of Nazareth want me to re-sign it for? Oh, I don't know. Can I talk to Jesus of Nazareth? Well, no, of course not. Why? I don't know.
That's exactly how it works.
And why, and let me ask you, why is that? Because they're all fucking retarded. That's the fucking answer to the question. Every motherfucker's fucking retarded. All of them. You can have a guy who's been the CEO of Bank of America. He doesn't even know what a negotiable instrument is.
That's true. Totally tried it.
He doesn't fucking know. Hey, Joey, what's a car? Fuck if I know, bro. You want to go get a beer? I have no idea. Wait, you were in the car industry for 25 years. Ask him. Well, how do I ask him? I don't know. Dude, it's like children. It's like a whole fucking world of children. They don't know. They don't know. So you ask a question, they don't know. You ask another question, they don't know. You ask another question, guess what? They don't know.
And is the answer that they wanted to use my wife's social security number to go to the Fed window?
They don't know.
Do you know?
I don't know. How am I supposed to know what they don't know? They don't know. They don't know. It's a social security. What's a social security number? I don't know. What are you going to do with it? Well, the numbers, there's ink in this cylinder, and then it goes on this paper, and then, I don't know, it disappears through this window, this little thing in the wall here. We put it in this envelope. What's the envelope made of? Oh, I don't know. Is it yellow? Maybe it's brown. I don't know. Maybe it's, oh, wow, I got an answer to something. Holy fuck. Hold on. Oh, wow, I got an answer to something. Holy fuck. He knows something. Are you wearing pants, sir? That's a question you're going to get an answer to. Maybe. I don't even know if I'd go that far. Sir, are you wearing pants? I think so. That's it. That's what you're dealing with.
I'd say another thing too to backdoor on that though is that they're not on our capacity when we're actually going and utilizing the system. They don't go to the Fed window, y'all. The Fed window is actually a 24-hour, like 48-hour turnaround that they have to return the money. That's how that goes. Or negotiable instruments, credits, whatever the case may be. They've got an agreement with the Federal Reserve on an operating circular 7 or 10 agreement. You can look that up. Operating circular 7, operating circular 10. If you go read both of those documents, you see how it works. And it's like Brandon says, within there it straight up tells you all the definitions of without recourse and how they don't have to pay it back. It's already all there. So operating circular 7 and operating circular 10. Those are both Federal Reserve documents that literally lay out everything in relation to essentially what Brandon's talking about on the back-end side with without recourse and all other endorsements that they do. You can really understand what's going on there, and then you can apply it within your documentation. So like when he's talking about bringing forth a civil suit in any capacity, if you're lacing that within your own documentation when you're filing, you're killing it. Because at that point, they're like, well, damn, the lawyers aren't going to know, so the lawyers are going to have to study. But it's crazy to see that if they don't know and you know, you've already put yourself in a position that they're not even going to win. I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
It's good stuff. Good questions. So I made a statement before we went down that path. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was bad credit, no credit is worse than bad credit, I think is what I was referring to. That I think was something that you were kind of heading down. And you'll find a lot of times too, they'll ask you a question like, this is where a lot of people have a problem connecting the dots, especially when they ask your wife like they did, and you don't have access to 2 years of tax returns. Well, a lot of us in here don't file taxes, and rightfully so, and I hope everybody joins in that. So here we are again. Yeah. Well, what do you do? what do you do in that instance is something that we should all be working to collectively together. I think there are things that you can do. Now, the one thing that's really hard for people to wrap their heads around too is the more private you get, the harder it is to operate in commerce, I believe. It goes along with the more money you have or access to credit, the easier it is to act private, I guess is a good way to say it. So I'm at a point in my life now where I'm not worried about 2 years of tax returns because I'm not going to ever buy another house in this life. And if I buy a car, it's cash and all of that stuff. So I know the credit space and I know what everybody's been through because I know what I went through. So when I'm talking about no credit versus bad credit, there's a reason for that from the dealer's eyes again. If you have no credit, the lender's not even going to talk to me about you, because there's no historical markers there to say he was an asshole, he didn't pay whatever. They just don't even know who you are, where you came from. Now, that's not a showstopper. Now, what I know now, I've seen kids, the 20-somethings that have had great jobs, making an ass load of money, and they have no credit profile because they did a lot of things right early on, which is pay cash for things, blah, 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 and then they decide they want to go into commerce, and it's, oh, fuck. Wait a minute, my buddy Tim I was talking about, the war veteran, same thing. He's been very responsible for his stuff, his whole life, but then when he wanted to buy a big house, you need tax returns and you need all of these things. So it's not, and I'm only going to say this from the perspective, I always bring it from stuff that I've done myself. I have a son that was, at that time, 19. I was sharing with some people earlier. And he was in no credit, living at home with mom and dad. And I said, well, if I'm going to test this on somebody, it's going to be him, because what's he going to do about it? Kind of thing. He's my kid. So anyway, I did, and I built his profile, and in 30 days, here's what that build looked like. We put him on mom and dad's credit cards as authorized users. We're both over 800. We established that. I signed him up with a self-lender account. I'm not affiliated with self-lender, but if you wanted to research what I'm telling you, it's actually a really good organization. They'll give you a prepaid card, which he needed, which is, it's paid by the loan that dad's paying for at $25 a month for him. So he's getting a twofer there. He's getting a prepaid Visa card, and he's also getting the loan that dad's paying back for him. So he's getting two more. And then I had an LLC, and I had a lot of rentals at that time, but you don't need to have rentals or anything. You don't even really need to have an LLC. I created a document, a lease agreement between he and I, saying he was paying me $350 a month, and that was good enough. So I went to rentreporters.com is who I utilized to build this out. And with those 5 components right there, he went from 0 to 817 in 30 days. So when I'm saying that now I hope you're understanding why I'm not scared of bankruptcy. Because I know if I had to take you all the way to 0, which is what that is, how fast we could rebuild you back up. I say that through experience, yeah.
Real quick. Hey, just so you guys are tracking, he's literally talking about another way to have infinite money. For those of you who haven't had that click yet, he is telling you an entirely other way, of which, frankly, is much easier than my way. My way, I think, is like going out and, guns of glory. His is more realistic, I guess, in a tactical sense. Just wanted to point that out.
Well, it's also how, love him or hate him, Uncle Donnie's filed bankruptcy 9 times, and everybody likes to jump on that bandwagon. Again, we already know where I stand on that. But somebody that arguably is a billionaire, he's done the right things. He's created all of these businesses with what Brandon's referring to as infinite money, and I agree. Through his credit and all of that stuff, he's kept the ones that he wanted to in trust, and then he's cut everything else free thereafter. So that's kind of how that works for me and why he's done that effectively.
Yes, so the question is, if you want to file bankruptcy, I thought you were required to have 2 years of tax return.
If that is the case, that would be something that I haven't been presented with. I'm not sure of that, but that's an interesting thing that I haven't ran across with anybody. So obviously the people that I've worked with must have been filing tax returns if that were a stipulation, but I've not seen that. And that's one of those things, if you're being told that, we've talked about, if you've seen that in writing, statutorily or otherwise, rules of the court, I would buy it a little bit. If it's some shitbag bar card that's telling you that, it's a presumption that they're trying to scare you with. I don't know.
Real quick. I think a lot of people, because they're so scared of bar cards and shit, you'll have a bar card, they'll hire them to do a bankruptcy, and the bar card will say, oh, I need 2 years of your tax returns. And then people are fucking stupid as fuck, and they translate that into, oh, in order to file a bankruptcy, I have to have 2 years of tax returns. People think the bar cards are like fucking gods, like Greek gods, when they're fucking idiots, just like everybody else. And they think, oh, that means I need 2 years of tax returns. No, the question is, oh, by law, do I have to have 2 years of tax returns by law to file a bankruptcy? So ego comes in, oh, yes, you do. Oh, really? Can you show me, I love learning about this stuff. I find it really fascinating. Can you please show me the law or give me a reference point as to where and anywhere in maybe Title 26 or whatever, where I can find that information? I'd like to read it. And all of a sudden you got Beavis and Butthead on your hand. He said paper. And that's it. It's just like, it's a fucking joke, dude. I'm telling you. It's just, the whole thing is a fucking joke.
That is a valid question, though. I love that you asked that, because actually our client that we're leaning that way, he was asked that when he tried to bring on a bar card. I do remember that just like a week ago, where I said it's like the cheapest thing in the world to do. It's a lot cheaper than hiring me, I promise you that, and he knows that. So going and paying some bar card $1,800 to have them help you file your worksheet is easy. But I do remember him actually saying, hey, she asked me for my last 2 years. So there must be something there that they've all, but I haven't seen, you're wanting to.
So my brother is going through bankruptcy right now. Him and his girlfriend filling out all the paperwork themselves. On Wednesday, there's free bar cards to go and look over the paperwork to tell him he did it the right way. He has been homeless and a drug addict. He's cleaned himself up now, and he's doing bankruptcy because a former girlfriend took his car, hit a vehicle. There was no insurance, so they came after him for the $17,000 of damages on the commercial vehicle. The only way he can get himself a driver's license is to do bankruptcy. He's doing it all himself, and there's no tax returns. There's nothing.
Yeah.
So that's just fear. I mean, it's in Florida.
It's amazing too. Yeah, you're in Pinellas County or something too. My old stomping grounds. It's amazing how they tie everything in together. You have to have this is one I was talking to Brandon about last night, is the real ID thing that's before all of us right now, and the horse shit there. And it's funny, if you look at the TSA, they're driving you to the states to get your real ID license. So I mean, I was not scared. Well, yeah, I was scared enough to think, holy fuck, I'm supposed to go down there, and I'm not going to be able to get on the plane in Indianapolis tomorrow. So I look it up, and they do. If you look at TSA, it's there right now. They're driving you to the states to get your licenses and stuff, but if you keep on reading, it'll say that, oh, you can also use a passport too. But they're trying everything they can to get us into, and I understand a lot of it, but everything's tied together where, if you want to file, you have to do this. I'm not telling anybody by any means that they should go out and be dumbasses and file bankruptcies. That's not the message at all. I'm saying, like I've said about everything, if you do anything like in your brother's instance, he had no other recourse and he wanted to make a change. Good for him. And somebody was trying to come out, the big wolves, like I always do, and trying to hurt him in some capacity, even though he'd I'm a recovering alcoholic as well, so I get it. I get where he's at. 24 years if I make it to November 2nd, so which is cool. So, yeah.
One thing I want to say about Joey, Joey mentioned this about a week ago. I don't think you've mentioned so far. It's fucking brilliant. About a week ago, we were talking to one of our clients, and so bankruptcies are done on the federal level, right? And you can go on Pacer and you can look up different cases and stuff in different courts. The bankruptcy court is its own court entirely. So you can log into Pacer, which is a free account. They're going to send you a login key code thing, bullshit thing, in the mail, or you can use a credit card and get instant access. If you don't use a credit card, on the account, then you have to wait for the PIN number. And then once you get the PIN number, you can go in for free. Or you can go on recap maybe. But for this one, I would just use Pacer. That way you're not hunting around. And just go into the bankruptcy court. And this is what he mentioned to our client like a week ago. It's all the fucking bar cards printing off the same bullshit, putting all the same shit on all the shit. It's just, you could just go into the fucking bankruptcy court on Pacer, click on any fucking case, it's all gonna look the same, copy everything they're fucking doing, obviously, clean up the words, don't be a fucking idiot, don't get yourself in like a fraud charge or something. But like clean up the words, understand what you're looking at, you're gonna know more than the fucking bar card, 6 minutes? So, you could just do it yourself, it's almost like color by number bankruptcy. And then go look at fucking Joey's cases on how he did his fucking credit stuff. Look him up on I think the Indiana State cases?
Southern District of Indiana.
Southern District of Indiana. Pull up his cases on how he's pulling shit off of his credit report. Rinse and fucking repeat. Infinite money. File your own bankruptcy and then do your own fucking little micro lawsuit to get the fucking bankruptcy taken off the record. Go out, buy a fucking Lamborghini, crash into a wall, smoke a crack pipe with 4 hookers, and then do the same thing again. He's the one who fucking told us about this about a week ago. I just wanted to plug that in.
Yeah, and I think there's something there too. I mean, we all talk about the infinite money from whatever our perspective is and whoever we saw some content created by. But I put a lot of thought into this, and back to the Donnies of the world. There are a lot of dudes like him in the game that I think have done exactly what he's done. So build it up to 800. Go out and utilize all of the credit I can get my hands on. So I said this earlier talking to some folks too. It's back to what I was telling the gentleman earlier about being realistic about what it is you're expecting too, man. If you're making $15 an hour and you get an 800 credit score and you think you're gonna get a Lamborghini, we need to talk again. Uncle Joey's gonna have to have that talk. It just doesn't qualify for you that. So the big loan that I was talking about, my lifestyle did. So you have to match up what your lifestyle is for what your potential damages are if you're gonna do the rinse and repeat. That doesn't mean that if you're making $60K a year, and that's awesome, good for you, and you have an 800 credit score, you should be playing at a way higher level than I promise you than what you are right now. You should be using that 800 to get up to $90,000 a year, get away from the $60,000 W-2, but I understand you have to have the W-2 to get all of this in place, but the whole rinse and repeat aspect, I think, is the important thing to understand there, and just not leaving your profile for everybody else to manage for you when it's yours. I mean, it's your scorecard is how I look at it. Are you an A student? Are you a C minus? And I promise you, I've seen way more C minuses than I have A's. And that's only because people don't understand that we are all A's, and I'm not getting goofy here about that, but you have to tell them what it is that you want, and you have to be able to exert the authority that you have to be able to get there. So anyway, if there's no other questions, I truly want to do a deep dive on Snap-on maybe tomorrow if that's the case, because I think that's where I'm going to be. So I tore you down with the ugly. It's what we do, right? We talk about the nonsense of the car notes and all the dumb shit and the dirty laundry and stuff that I shared with you, and now I'm going to build it back up again tomorrow to talk about, the Snap-on stuff that we did, and I think is wonderful. I still wear their jacket. I let them know that all the time. We're friends, and that's the way it should be. I won't do business with Snap-on ever again. They won't allow that to happen, but I still wear their jacket. They paid me a lot of money, and we're good. They did what they were supposed to have done ultimately, but I had to hold them accountable. So if there's no further ado, man, yeah, what's up?
So I just opened up an LLC, and I'm probably going to put it in my private trust, but I am thinking about getting a truck and qualified special endorse it through the LLC. Is that, something you...
Here's the thing that I would
think?
caution in that wonderful state that you're in. And it's like that it's in this state too, because we had a client in this state once upon a time, and he found out the hard way. I'm not telling you not to do the LLC. Indiana, I can, and I can represent my LLC. There's what I'm getting at. Here in California, I don't think you can. It says you have to have a bar card. So my point with saying this is, that's true, but the LLC, if that's what you're putting it in and titling it as, then if it comes sideways and you've truly learned everything I think you're going to learn to say, hey, I want to exert my rights, and a bar card's not going to do it for you. You're going to hear a bunch of talking in circles and nonsense. So you're going to be in this place that a lot of people find them in to say, I've created something that I've been told throughout time is there to protect me. That's what an LLC protects Joey Kimbrough from any liability, which is why I have a lot of LLCs too. I wish I wouldn't have done that because there's no reason to. If somebody wants to come after me from a liability standpoint, they're going to try to pierce the corporate veil anyway. They did. If you Google me, you're going to find that there was a house fire I owned, 2 little girls died. So I've been down that path. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm coming from a place that I've been in the horrible litigation where I did everything right. I thought the LLC was going to protect me. Now, my insurance company paid the $1 million, as I'm glad they did, but it was horseshit, and I was fighting it. And the LLC would not have protected me at all there, So I just be careful what it is you're using it for.
I should mention the LLC is in Wyoming, and I have a virtual address with Wyoming through Anytime Mailbox.
It's one of those things we talked about earlier, right? I think I get confused when I'm going to different addresses in different states and all that stuff. I know the bar cards would as well. So what are you going to use it for? If it's just to protect you from liability on the truck, you can still do that in your name. You don't need the LLC for that.
Well, I was going to get business funding because,
Business funding?
Yeah, through the
Okay.
LLC.
Yeah.
So I think that with that credit, I could get a truck.
So remember what I said about my son and how I built the profile up for him within 30 days to the 817. There's Dunn and Bradstreets over there and there's not a lot of people that know this game either, and I'm not one of them either. I'm not purporting to be. But business credit, there's a lot of folks doing that. You've got to start and build that profile for that company because it's your baby. When you create it, legally, that LLC becomes a living, breathing person. You've got to build up that profile if you're wanting to use that for business. So if you want a $150,000 line, you need to look at Uline, and I've researched it. I've just never done it. And I know there are some people in this space that can build credit just like I did for my son in 30 days and get you $150,000 access. So now that takes infinite money to a different level. Now you and me are partners. I'm with you on that. Let's get all the LLCs we can. And you can, by the way. I've got lots of them that I've created over the years. And that's where I got all of the credit cards with Amex. It wasn't Joey Kimbrough. It was the EINs that I created for each of those LLCs. Back in the Wild West, which is what it was back when I was doing it, I was able to do that with a simple EIN, and the fact that I'm a living, breathing creature, for whatever reason, they would give me an EIN with a $20,000 line of credit. Amex did this just like Tic Tacs. So yeah, I now I'm with you. I thought you were just going to park your truck in it and think you're going to be, no, if you're going to want to build, it's just find the person, I'm not him, that did what I did for my son that's doing it in the LLC building business credit space. And I know they're out there because I see them. And I would love to, I know enough about the components that I've not done it to say, if I go get me a Dun and Bradstreet number, I know you have to do it. It's just not going to happen, just like my son was going to have no credit until I stepped in and did what I did. In 30 days, he's top 1% of the people with credit. Just like your LLC, you're not going to get a $150,000 line until you go build it out the same way. And there are a lot of credit accounts that you can open up on day one. They're going to be low-hanging fruit, probably $50 limits, but you're going to be able to build it up to where in a year you're going to have an LLC that's going to be able to, just like you did with your personal credit profile, you can do with that profile. Now it takes infinite money to a different level. So yeah, let me know how it goes.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think I can build it up within a month? Because I'd like to get a truck soon.
If I could do
Yeah.
the other side that I can speak on profoundly in a month, I would think that there is a way that you could get access to something. I wasn't trying to get my son $50,000 credit card access. A business is a different entity altogether. I understand that. So to get a line, just the way I was telling you I did it with Amex in the past, I think that ship has sailed, but it's probably still there if you had an LLC that was established that had some type of credit lines. I don't know if 0 to 30 is going to do it like it does in the personal profile, but yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. 6 months, a year, I think would be realistic to say, hey, I can get my hands on 150K. And while you're building the next one up, that'd be cool. I'd love to hear about that, or honestly. Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you do an LLC over a PMA? Is it business credit?
Well, for me, it was just the protection component from the liability that could be there. Honestly, I've not done enough PMA stuff to speak in any kind of authority, so I can't say the pros and the cons. I can say what I created the LLC for was just 100% the liability component, and that was it. You wanted to say something, Brandon?
PMA still gets an EIN. Yeah. I got EINs for all my trusts. And you guys think like, oh, well, that wouldn't work because it's a foreign EIN, and then a foreign EIN wouldn't necessarily be a U.S. person, and you're already like 457 trillion football fields past any motherfucker you're going to talk to. Already. You said like 7 words, and you're already like a galactic space robot. I'm not fucking kidding. So you guys sitting there, and this guy, hey, well, I got an EIN, but it's a foreign EIN. And if it was a foreign EIN, and he's already like fucking like Dreamweaver, thinking about Pornhub when he gets home, smoke a bowl, and watch some fucking Pornhub. He's like, yeah, sure, bro, whatever, that's cool, yeah. Great, dude, great. Yeah, EINs, oh yeah, EIN, I know him. He's a great guy. Fucking love Ian. Ian's a great guy. And that's what you're getting, but they have ego, and then they pretend like they know shit, and they don't know anything. They don't know anything. So it's like, it's a fucking EIN number. The goddamn trust has an EIN number. What's the fucking difference? I don't see the difference. And you say, oh, this is the difference, and this is the difference. And, yeah, but you're a fucking intergalactic space robot. Nobody else knows that. Nobody. So you guys are shocked that nobody knows any of this. Well, so am I. What do you think I'm doing? All I do all day long is learn shit that no one knows. That's all I do. So this is the life. This is the life we live. I don't know what else to say. This is the life we live. If you want to do cool shit and you're worried about people not understanding, you only have one fucking choice. Only one. And you got to educate. If you don't educate, they're never going to know. They've been there for 35 years. They don't fucking know anything. What makes you think all of a sudden they're going to have some fucking spiritual rapture, and they're going to fucking hover into the air, and there's going to be electricity coming off their body, and they're going to suddenly all of a sudden fucking want to know something they've been doing for 35 years obviously didn't want to fucking know.
It's back to asking yourself what you're wanting to use for whatever reason, and just having a good idea that you've wrapped your head completely around it before you take it forward. One thing we didn't talk about that we don't really need to do terrible deep dive on, but I don't know if you do, that's cool, what the difference is between federal court and state court. And that's where I think a lot of people get sideways, Brandon and I included. We're putting UCC claims out and this, that, and the other, and you got to watch what court you're doing, because we're bringing UCC claims in the federal court, which the UCC is horseshit, by the way. If you look at it as a template only. But where it's not horseshit is at the state level that we found later on, where they've codified the UCC claims at the state level. So my point with saying this is federal court is very limited jurisdiction. Very, very, very limited jurisdiction. It's mostly civil rights claims, it's diversity claims, it's the statutory stuff. They're a limited jurisdictional court. So if you bring state law claims into federal court, you're not going to have much luck. If the other way, the state courts are broad jurisdiction, they can hear both state and federal claims. So that's the biggest distinction. I love both. Federal court gets me excited because there's way more resources. You have opportunities for settlement. I mean, the stuff that I've done from a discovery standpoint is cool, second to none. State court on the other side is I think cleaner, faster, and you can bring anything in there that you want as far as claims. So that's just the distinction that I wanted to make there. If you're thinking about, okay, because it becomes very overwhelming very fast. Like I said earlier, it's like, where do I go? What do I do? How do I do it? Which court? And all of that stuff. Just kind of look at, like me, I can do the credit stuff in state court. I can do it in small claims. I can do it, I usually do most of them over in federal court because that's where it's cleaner. It's 15 USC 1681 or 92 or 605 or whatever. So I have those federal statutes that they're very familiar with that makes it very clean and quick. But that does not mean I can't bring it in state. And I'm not trying to cause confusion. I'm just saying, if it were the other way around and you had an Indiana statute that I'm trying to present in federal court, it's not going to go very well. I actually have one of those that I'm arguing right now, and I'm getting it remanded back to state court where it belonged, where they've defaulted and they owe me 1.2. So they removed it immediately to federal court, playing the game that they do that we don't know about, right? So all of my claims were state court claims. They defaulted. I sent everything in. I did everything right, and they filed in finally saying, "Oh shit, look at this guy." They removed it over to federal court. Now I'm trying to get it remanded back, and we're having this just big tough. So anyway, great stuff. A lot of good questions. I mean, I'm going to be around for 3 days. I love talking to you guys about whatever it is. I've heard a lot of different stuff that's going on. That's what I'm here for. I want to talk to you as much as I can, spread what at least little stuff that I know so far that I've learned. And I think, Cam, you're wanting to kind of...
We're going to do a 10-minute break, and then we're going to do Cam, and then we're going to close out the day.
Nice. Okay.
Y'all better start clapping. Damn it. We just spoke to y'all for damn near 2 hours. Hell y'all do.